Should we go? Shall we go? Good morning, everyone. Hello. We're going to be kicking things off today with a partner demo from SecondSwap. I think this is a great way to kick things off and begin a hackathon day of demos, as I hope it's inspirational to all of the hackers here who have been working so hard to see what a prototype of an idea can become. What an idea like the one that you've all been workshopping over the past few days can evolve into. I would love for each one of you to be up here next year as an official ecosystem partner, demonstrating to the rest of the Midnight ecosystem your production-grade dApp, speaking about your success and your many users that you've onboarded. So let's start our morning off with a bit of inspiration from Canny Lee, who will be demoing live for us SecondSwap. Healthcare teams, you are on deck to pitch first, so if you could come over here, let's get you set up and ready to go. Come on, let's go. A big round of applause for Canny.
Hi, good morning. Good morning. Thanks for braving out the cold here to be on day 3 of the Midnight Summits. I'm excited to be here at the Royal Navy College in London. It's been a wonderful 3 days. I know you're all a little bit tired. It's early in the morning, but let's get right into it. See if you can see this. Great. SecondSwap, we're a multi-chain decentralized exchange that has been launched to Ethereum, Avalanche, and Solana. And we're super excited to bring our dApp to the Midnight ecosystem. One of the things that you'll see later, I think what Lauren mentioned, is that we're actually live on our testnet. So that's one of the things that I think as a partner demo for some of the hackathons team members, it's a good sort of prototype to see how far things need to get to before you get live. And I'll walk you through some of that. Before we start, I want to make a bold statement. I was at a DeFi roundtable yesterday. We talked a little bit about RWAs. What does it really mean? Is it really going to exist? Is it going to happen? So I said, one way to look at this is that it has to be a binary. Either you believe a statement or you don't. I personally believe that RWAs is what's going to save crypto. It's going to bring the next $4 trillion market cap inside to crypto. But if you don't believe the statement, they're like, well, it's not going to happen. So if you're on the binary spectrum, yes or no, tokenized assets are going to replace traditional financial markets. And we're seeing that already. You're seeing more and more bankers inside these conversations. You're seeing more financial institutions come in and say, hey, what are you guys doing? There's something interesting. Is this going to replace my job? Maybe, maybe not. Maybe if you adapt and you get into what we're doing here, that replacement is going to be augmentation, not a replacement. Just go to the next slide. You've seen some of this early signs happening already. Just 2 months ago, NASDAQ announced the tokenization of the world's largest spot markets. That's tokenizing securities. So the world can now partake in sort of like a omni-channel approach to both stocks, crypto, and bonds. They can have it all on one platform, and you're seeing some of the businesses starting to do that. You have your Robinhoods, your Interactive Brokers, all your omni-channel platforms are actually trying to bridge all types of financial assets into one platform. And that platform is digitized, particularly on cryptocurrencies. As NASDAQ tokenizes the world's largest spot markets, what you don't know is that on the bottom left-hand corner there, you see that they also own a very not so small business called NASDAQ Private Markets, NPM. NASDAQ Private Markets is their secondary market business. Because as you know, in the financial services, there's always to be healthy and efficient. There's a primary market and there's a secondary market as well. And that's what SecondSwap is. SecondSwap provides secondary market infrastructure for tokenized assets. That's something that doesn't really exist yet today, but it's becoming more and more prominent. Why? For one, on the left-hand corner you see here is transparency. To have that transparency and this balance of privacy is one of the hardest things. It's a very delicate balance. We want the marketplace to have things like price discovery. I want you to discover what the value of this asset is worth, but I also don't want you to know how little it's worth sometimes. Because as you know, most people think what they own is very, very valuable, but the minute they try to sell it, like, man, this is not worth as much as I thought. And why is that? Maybe there's a human emotional element to it. But true price discovery depends on a number of factors. It's not just who you're selling to. Are you selling to a global audience, or are you just selling to your neighbor? A transparent marketplace has a delicate balance, and I think that's where Midnight really, really excels. Another area, capital efficiency. In order for assets to move, most companies try to be what we call capital efficient. They don't want to deal with things like escrow and collateral. These are financial terms that a lot of people really struggle around because it makes you less capital efficient. If I need to place my funds with another institution to guarantee an outcome or finality of delivery of goods, it makes me less capital efficient, and I have to have a bigger proposition to make sure that that works, and it affects my margins. So that's an area where secondary market still relies on. Optimized pricing is another area. To get the best price, like I mentioned, you have to go to a global scale, not just within your network, not just within the people that you know, but you want to go out to a global marketplace where aggregate buyers and aggregate sellers can actually take place. And the last pillar is what I call on-chain settlement. And that's something different from what financial services does today. On-chain settlement versus off-chain settlement. Off-chain settlement is dominated in the secondary market infrastructure today, where you negotiate with brokers via OTC. When you bring that settlement on-chain and say, well, first of all, I'm going to trade an IOU. Is that a piece of paper, like a PDF that means I owe you something? Or is it going to be physical delivery on-chain? Does it mean that I actually get the tokens coming directly to my wallet? If the answer is yes, great, I'm in, because I'm already in the digital world. I can't go to my boss and tell him I paid $1 million for an IOU, which is what's happening today. So this is the secondary market infrastructure. This is where we're at, and these are the 4 pillars. What I'd like to talk a little bit about today is how Midnight changes that. You heard yesterday Charles talk about in his keynote on the roadmap of Midnight and how adding that privacy layer can be across multiple chains, and I think that's a really groundbreaking statement. First of all, think about things like a permission buyer pool. All the buyers that need to come in and purchase this asset. Imagine you kick out all the people that just window shopping. You kick out all the people that just competitors looking at your price. All the buyers that come to these pools are permissioned. You let them in because they qualify to be there. Either they have some sort of ZK proof that proves that I have enough assets, or I'm an accredited investor, or I'm a ECP, like an eligible contract participant, to have a right to be here. That changes the game because now I'm selling to a pool of individuals or institutions that are eligible to be here. And the inverse is also true. Imagine I have verified private sellers. You're buying from somebody that's authorized to sell. You're not buying any more vaporware. So you have some ZK proof that proves that these private sellers are authorized either from the foundation or the token issuer to say that, yes, private sellers have a right to be there. So now you have a marketplace with both verified private sellers and permission buyers to be here. And you add to the end of that shielded transactions. Whether it's shielded or unshielded, adding that element of the transaction where you can selectively disclose information about the transaction, the size, the amounts, the notional amounts, who's it buying to, how many tranches, and things like that. Very important as a privacy layer to ensure transactions are negotiated in a private way, but printed on the public blockchain to ensure there's transparency on the transaction. So how are we a little bit different? At Second Swap, the way we think about this model is that bringing back the buyers and the sellers, we know that most sellers on most marketplaces on platform have an incentive to realize profits when they need to. But at the same time, to encourage buyers to come in, we actually want to get them on a discount, because secondaries are usually a little bit cheaper than what you get on the primaries because it's published on the secondaries. But what you get is an economic incentive where the sellers can realize profits when they need to, not when they have to or when they get liquidated. Buyers can come in at a discount to the market, and they're buying it from authentic, private, verified sellers. And the third big difference is that for token issuers who come into the marketplace and use this as a way to distribute their tokens, they have economic benefit because they can unlock liquidity without hitting that circulating supply for their tokens. So we're truly creating a win-win-win situation where all parties benefit from this economic model. All right. Without further ado, I'd like to show you a little bit of what this looks like. This is our tagline, from locked to liquid. Let me see if I can launch this demo. They told me not to lip sync live, but I want to show this to you because this is much more interesting when we have this as a live presentation. So this is now connected. You can see here. So what you have here is your typical Z-swap functions. You have your private token swaps where you can actually trade and swap tokens with privacy-enabled features. Either you want to do this publicly or do this privately. You have the ability to toggle additional features. So if you look a little bit closer, you can have things like hiding the transaction amounts. You can also hide your balance updates. You can toggle between different areas. You can also set your different anonymity set sizes. You can make them larger to have more privacy, but of course it costs more gas fees, or you can lower that as well. So there's a lot of different privacy-enabled features that you can have this, as well as a privacy mode where the transaction is either printed on-chain or it's a public transaction. So a lot of different privacy features. Over here, you can see here, there's just a simple swap transaction where you can change dust to various other currencies, but right now the testnet is only dust. So for example, if I showed you about 100 dust to ETH, it calculates a rate, a price impact, as well as a network fee. If I have it on privacy mode, what you'll see here is an additional fee here for your privacy fee that's set to the size of that anonymity set. So let's do a private swap, submit the order to the network, hit the pool, and then you'll see the transaction and swap executed. So here you are with a simple swap for privacy-enabled transactions from dust to another token. On this dashboard here, I also wanted to show you here is some of the ways that we also encourage more private deals onto the transaction, onto the network. These are the 3 different types of private deals that we support. On the left side here, you see your standard purchase, simple token swap. A lot of companies actually want to do fundraising. For example, right now private fundraising is pretty tough, but we still support that on the platform. What I find a little bit more interesting perhaps is a structured yield product, maybe a yield-bearing stablecoin or something that actually has yield in a market that's moving down or sideways. Let's go ahead and maybe create a deal using a deal template. I have various type of different deals that I could choose from, but I'll choose the structured product one just to make it a little bit easier. What you see in front here is the deal terms, how you can configure different type of deals. So what I'll do here is I'll look at the permission buyer pool that I want to go to and create something that's maybe interesting for us. Now that it's given now it's close to the Thanksgiving, let's create something for Christmas, maybe a Christmas stalker where 30 days from now, I'll get a Christmas bonus. And it's a short-term, let's say, RWA deal based on maybe trade finance. We're doing some sort of trade finance operations where we're lending out to someone who's borrowing for their trade. Your risk-free rate is typically around 4.5% to 5%, but let's make it a little bit more interesting because we want a little nice bonus come Christmas time. Let's make it anywhere from a target yield rate to 7% to 8%, 30-day lockup, and a short redemption window, 7 days. And now we can do something more interesting. The first thing that we do here is we start looking at our ZK proofs. Getting the first proof, this proof is actually on the transaction balance. not the full information of all the ZK proofs. So first of all, once I hit this and I generate the ZK proof, it will hit the proof server to ensure that the balance proof is set. What's also more interesting is that for what I mentioned about the permission pools is if I started adding other proofs like ID proofs, AI proofs, collateral proofs, that goes into third parties where other partners and other people in the ecosystem, maybe in the audience today, will start generating other type of proofs that makes this whole transactions much more productive and much more valuable and interesting. So I'm going to go ahead and just create simply the ZK proof just on the balances. So imagine if we added more information about buyers, KYC, all that information. If once that's embedded in, you generate. Look at the final numbers. This is our yield product, generating about 7 to 8% with a 30-day lockup. And then we go ahead and we publish the deal. So you see here, there's a transaction hash that's sitting on our testnet. I'll just copy that. Go to the Explorer that we built that looks, it's a little hard to see for everyone here. Let me see if there's, I'm just going to paste in the hash address here and hit the connect button to see if we can roll through and look at some of these transactions. It's on a light mode, so a little bit hard to see on the screen here, but you can see some of the arrays being called onto the testnet. So as the smart contract gets deployed, you'll see for every single contract called, and every variable that we have, it's incremented at different points in time. So there you have it. We have SecondSwap live on the Midnight testnet, printing transactions for different types of deals. So that's about it. I wanted to wrap up. I want to thank you all for joining this demo. Like I said, it wasn't easy getting to a testnet and getting live transactions, but we're super excited for the mainnet that's coming soon. Once we start doing this, we'll think about gamification or other elements to bring this testnet to be more robust. And if there's partners in the audience today that want to hear more about how we can have this combined journey to make it more robust, more ZK proofs, more type of transactions, more types of deals, reach out to us, secondswap.io. You can find us on Twitter or Telegram. Thank you. Okay.
Thank you so much, Canny. What a fun way to start the day. So now on to the main event, shall we? We made it. Final day. The room looks surprisingly awake for a group of people who barely slept, which tells me two things. First, that you care about what you built, and secondly, that you refuse to coast. 2 a.m. was a wild time to find out the news of your fate last night. 2 a.m. or 3 a.m.? What was the final announcement? 3? Okay, yeah, I see someone boldly saying that it was 3, yes. You pushed yourselves right up to the deadline, and I see that. I applaud you. What a wild 3 days it's been. To kick things off, I have a few QR codes for you. The first is an event feedback form. Tell us truthfully what worked and what was messy. Please take this photo now. We want to hear from you. This is the same one that we've been showing on the main stage, and there will be a post-event feedback form as well. I believe that this one is the current of event as it's happening, if you will. And the second, which is a bit more applicable for hackers and developers, builders, equally important, perhaps more for us, but it's a developer experience, onboarding, tooling, docs, release stability. If something's frustrated you, which perhaps it most likely has, we want it written down. We'll use it to tighten the ecosystem before mainnet. Please take a photo of this now. And then finally, the QR code for the PO app that we designed for all of you hackers. These are some of the first ever Midnight NFTs. I feel honored to be able to share these with such a deserving crowd. Have any of you minted these already? Does anyone have it in their wallet yet? I'm so happy that you do. I think they're really cool. You'll notice a trend in the design as you start to collect them, and I think it's quite fun. I'll pause until I see everyone done taking photos because I think this one is the most worthwhile. So before we dive into demos, I want to acknowledge what it actually took for this group to be here. Some of you flew across the world for a few days that basically have been controlled chaos. You chose to spend your time building something that did not exist 48 hours ago. That level of commitment is beyond rare, and it's exactly why this community keeps growing. We had 48 submissions yesterday. That number may sound simple until you remember that every single one of these projects had to be reviewed, scored, and filtered by a panel of judges who also stayed up far too late. Judges, thank you. These folks took an unreasonable amount of time, and you still brought thoughtful, consistent evaluations so that we could reach this point today. We appreciate you being here. We feel honored to have you. We didn't leave judging to chance. This panel was built deliberately, I'm going to go back, so that every project is evaluated by someone who actually knows what they're looking at. We brought in experts across business acumen, customer acquisition, healthcare, AI, governance, finance, back-end, front-end engineering, quality assurance, pitching, content clarity. Each judge scored only their domain, not outside of it. That structure keeps bias in check and forces every single project to be evaluated on the merits, not personality, not popularity, or which team can talk the loudest. You were judged by specialists who understand the real signals of a viable product and a strong technical foundation. So here's how today will run. Each team will present live. Keep your demos tight and focused, because clarity is what separates good ideas from vague ones. After the demos, we will finalize scores and announce the winners here live for the following prizes. Top overall project, which will come with $15,000. The top track winners in AI, healthcare, governance, and finance will each win $2,500. And then finally, the Hacker's Choice Award, chosen by all of you here. All winning teams earn a spot in our soon-to-be-announced and soon-started first cohort of the Midnight Build Club. It's an 8-week-long sprint designed, it's an 8-week-long cohort-based club where we will help you turn your prototype into something viable. It's not about hand-holding, real critique, real iteration. It's a real clear path to either validate or rethink your idea. This has been one of our strongest hackathon groups to date that we've ever had. You've set the bar so high. Let's keep this momentum going. With that, I say let's get started with our demos. We're going to kick things off with healthcare. Building core, you are starting us off. AI teams, you are on deck to go after healthcare, so keep that in mind. Let's go.
Hello, good morning. My name is Tony. I'm the representative for Building Core. And so this is Clean ZK, a zero knowledge, zero exposure, zero friction application for healthcare. Now, this project came as a result of the need for patients to actually participate in clinical trials. I believe lots of people have different experiences with different things. Like when applying for positions or trials, they require you to put in all your information. So an example here is Sarah. She qualifies for a life-changing clinical trial. Everything fits, but she's afraid to go on or participate in this trial because when she gives out her data, she doesn't get it back. And in many cases, they have to collect her name, parents' name, age, addresses, and other information, and then she just gets a one-line email saying you do not qualify, and she doesn't get her data back, which is why we came up with CleanZK. So right now, the clinical trial rely on sensitive data, and there are only two options: expose everything, you upload your full medical history, privacy, you upload your full medical history, records, addresses, and other information, and then, or you decide to take the manual verification route where you make phone calls, paperwork, and it's really, really, really slow. So our vision, a privacy-preserving eligibility verification platform using zero knowledge, powered by Midnight. So what this would do is clinics would offer digital verification to the patients, and all they have to do is just check if they qualify for the trial. They don't have to go through the hassle of making phone calls or filling out forms or doing all those things. The value proposition for patients: complete privacy control, no data leakage, because the patient gets digital ID and they just check to see. It's a one-click verification. You click on it, you see if you're eligible. You don't have to tell them your age, your name. It matches all the criteria using Midnight's blockchain. Midnight Zero Knowledge. Then for trial sponsor, they have efficient eligibility verification and reduced administrative burden. And for the clinics, they have streamlined credential issuance, reduced paperwork, enhanced patient trust, and a modern digital infrastructure. What we have right now is a clean user experience. It's reliable, predictable. We have intuitive API-aligned developers to easily connect to this and build seamless flow. And like I said, it's a one-click verification. So the flow of the application is simple. Patient requests for identification from the clinic. The clinic issues the ID, and they just click on the trial and click verify, and then the Zero Knowledge does all the verification checks and sees if they are eligible for the trial. No need to upload information, your age, your address. Just the things that needs to be checked will be checked, and it's all done in the back end. So the trials, the organization sponsoring the trials do not see your information. They just know this person is eligible. Okay, so this is the flow I just explained. Clinic issues a digital credential. Patient generates the proof hash. Proof is submitted with nullifier, and the trial eligibility is verified. No data leaks, nothing. Yeah, this is the current flow. This is the current UI of the application. I'm just gonna skip. Okay, we have the admin console where you get to add new issuers, set up new clinic trials and all. And yeah, let's talk about Midnight alignment. So privacy-first architecture, no medical data leaves the patient's control, credentials are encrypted end-to-end, and zero PII ever hits the trial sponsor. So the trial sponsors never get access to your data. They just know patient X is eligible for this trial. That's all. Now, growth path, we intend to pilot with one clinic and one trial sponsor, then regional expansion, then national rollout and international trials. Why it wins? It solves a major real-world bottleneck with a privacy-first approach that no current trial system offers. Right now, lots of patients are afraid to participate in these trials, and sponsors of these trials lose a lot of money because they are unable to get people to participate in these trials. But this fixes and handles all those issues. So what's next? If we win, we intend to do a full-on zero-knowledge on-chain verification with Midnight and a global rollout. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, we have Black 8. Come on up. Judges, go ahead and lock in your scores. Gentlemen.
Hello. Hi, good morning, everybody. We are the team of Black 8. Okay. So we are actually not from blockchain background. We're from Kubernetes background. Kubernetes is short for KAS. So our team's project is called HAE, healthcare. So think check. Oh, it doesn't work. Okay. So what are we building? We built a D app on Midnight that enabled patients to publish their commitments of their medical data on-chain while keeping sensitive data off-chain. Actually, we're not revamping the data model. We are reusing a data model called FHIR, F-H-I-R. They have like three kind of data model, like patient, like consensus. Basically, that's it. They are the data format all the major pharmacy in North America are using, CVS, Shoppers in Canada, and such like that. So basically, we want to like store those medical data off-chain while allow them to selectively allow less viewers. So there are three highlights for our project. The first one, we have a very well-designed D app with clean offline and online data store. Two, we implement two clean UX flow. One, it will work as the CLI app, like the counter you are familiar with. Also, we have a web app to enable the same flow. Three, we actually implement two different kind of offline data storage mechanism. The first one is a local file. It's a JSON, right? So it's like you can see data there, you can debug for whatever. The second one is we actually integrate with Firestore, which is like web-based database. It can start with free, but it is actually compliance with HIPAA, which is the the compliance data store for medical data, actually. So if we want to go onto production, that's the data store we're going into, and also that's the data backend for a web store, web app. Yeah, next, we will skip the video. We don't have that time for that. How are we building it, Jeff?
Yep. In our contracts, we have a simple contract design. We have three circuits functions. The first one is a write function that allow the patient to write their medical data or upload their medical data via like a JSON format in FHIR. So that's the first function. Next slide. Allow list is the second function in our contracts that allow the patient to delegate or allow list like another patient or another medical clinic to see your data. Yep. The read function will be the function to give the input will be the patient ID and to see the other patient's information on their system. Yep, and there are the our ledgers and the witness, which is the private data, and this is the high-level architecture of our design that, as my partner just said, we have two storage, local file system, and the file store is online storage, and we have two interfaces, the CLI and also the UI.
We actually record the whole demo. It is like you can also play around with the repo, but for the interest of time, I'm going to skip that. Please watch it. It's pretty fun. Actually, we can talk about what's next, right? So what's next? The first one is like it is not production-ready UI. I think in order to make it more useful, we want to make the UI more useful. And also, you may notice we already put the patient data on chain. No, off chain, but the allow list is still on chain. In order to make it full, a FHIR compliance, we can also make the allow list, which is called consensus off chain as well. So people don't see that data. Also, there are more things we can do. And also, we can have more features like data visioning and have a full-fledged web app production ready. So, yeah, that's it. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, Black 8. Next up, we have Gracias Esteban, and that will wrap up this vertical. We'll then bring on AI. You are on deck, so make sure you're ready to be mic'd up. Let's give the next group a round of applause.
Okay. Well, hello guys. I'm Ignacio from TXPy. This is my team, Valentino, Sara, Agustin. Let's just start directly. We, as devs, we have a cool technology, we always think about more like how to apply this to a solution, to a software, but at the same time, we don't think about the problem itself. So we are too focused on the solution itself, but with no well-known problem. So we had this approach first of thinking about the problem, and the problem is there is a lot of access barriers for personal health data because there is a lot of compliance and bureaucracy barriers for companies and research teams. And also from the user side, we have these privacy concerns and risks for users. We find a very cool meta-analysis to show you this. The willingness to share health data averages 77%, but varies widely, right? And then unwillingness to share this data remains quite significant, right? But the reluctance is quite high when the sharing of the data is for commercial purposes. That's right. There's a cool graphic that says for research, almost all of the participants, they are willing to share their data, but at the same time for, let's say, pharmacy, it doesn't approach 20%, and for insurance and wellness, is even lower than that. So our solution was to have a privacy-preserving data marketplace where organizations, what we call the data consumers, can request specific health metrics, and users, the data providers, can submit this information in a secure and anonymous way by using the Midnight tooling, right? What is cool is that the Midnight tooling makes this feasible, right? We target these high-resistance sharing scenarios, which are more with private companies requesting and needing this data that users don't want to share. So what we have is that this zero-knowledge proof reduces the exposure of personal details, right? And this data is stored encrypted in the on-chain contracts, and this ensures that only the consumer of that data has the key to unlock this data, right? But they don't have the identities of these people, but at the same time, we know that this data is valid, right? So yeah, that's basically a very simple diagram: the data consumer, the data provider, and our application. The data provider shares the data with this cool concept of selective disclosure. They only provide the data that the consumers will need. And what our app have is that the contract has the consumer-defined rules that the people they want to take data from need to apply. So this user-encrypted data is related to this consumer public key, right? And a very cool part of this is that we want to integrate with IoT wearables, let's say, for example, for measuring health rate. We made a simple Strava API integration, and so we can take the data from the heart rate, right, feed straight to our app, so the users can share that data, and the consumers just feed the. So, well, our future work with this is to have a fully functional web application, and after that, have a mobile application, because for integration with a lot of different providers and a lot of different devices that are mobile first and mobile only, you know? And well, of course, make a lot of integrations with very different devices. So yeah, that's the cool part of it. And also the idea is to have a full democratization of this feeding of this data because if we allow very different devices to really connect with this application, any people that want to share their data can have some rewards because the data providers will have some rewards to share this data. And the data consumers will pay for this data, and the whole circle kind of crosses. So yeah, thank you.
Okay. Gracias. Gracias, Esteban. We're moving on to AI. The first team that we're working with is Edge Chain. So let's get you guys up to present. Welcome. Wherever you are. There you are. No stress, we have your deck already. Come on up.
Hi guys. Yeah, so we are Edge Chain. What problem we are solving is, so currently if you see AI trend, and there is a next trend called federated learning. So federated learning is a concept where basically not a central server, basically the distributed local model computation is happening. So what happens is where you can locally, multiple devices can build the model, and then they can just commit their weights or gradients to the global model. So in that way, what will happen is you don't have to share your raw data, but you are still contributing to the model building, okay? So here we are talking about privacy preserving because we have added in federated learning the concept of privacy using zero knowledge. Okay, so this is our team, me, Shankar, Solomon, and we have a person, so he's participating online called Lokesh. Okay, so as I said, so Edge Chain basically, as I said, so federated learning, with federated learning, we are giving a decentralized AI ecosystem, where I just explained, and the zero knowledge to preserve that. So instead of sharing everything, we are just sharing weight and gradients by hiding a lot of information behind using zero knowledge. Yeah, I think this one I have already explained. Yeah, so the core innovation is the anonymity set, because in federated learning also there's a problem that when you share data, a lot of metadata is being passed. So we are using anonymity set. We'll just explain while in the demo of how we are doing that, okay? And JK identity derivation for those devices. So different devices we have connected. So we are using JK identity derivation instead of like directly just using their public key or anything. Yeah, so Midnight blockchain is enabling us for the smart contract and also the zero knowledge proofs.
All right, so the use case that we use, we looked at farming cooperatives in the global south, where you have a setup where you have NGOs that are supporting these farming communities. And some of them are implementing AI, but the problem is these NGOs sometimes leak information to business partners, to even the governments, such that the government can actually use the information that they're collecting to actually figure out things like voting patterns. So that's the use case that we picked, where we have an NGO who's at the center of aggregating these federated learning models, and then we have local farmers that are creating the local models that they will then upload to the global federated learning model. So the general architecture, Edge Chain comes from Edge AI and blockchain, where we've transformed a part of Edge AI where the inference is done on device, but what we've added to the Edge AI is shielding the devices so that when these local models are uploaded to the global models, the hashes will not track back who sent what and which device. So we've even our smart contracts go to the level of the Arduino board that we're using at the hardware level. So we have the IoT layer, which is the hardware level. So we have two smart contracts, one for the IoT device and one for the federated learning aggregator, right? And in terms of our deployment status, as I've said, we have two contracts, one for the IoT devices and one for the federated learning aggregator. And we are pushing the models to IPFS, and everything has been integrated end to end.
Okay, yeah, so the tools and technologies, as told initially, so we are using smart context, compact, and the quick starter we have used zero knowledge. So TensorFlow for the training, the local training, and the global training as well. And the Arduino, the device which we have, but I think it's not allowed here. So yeah, this is the contract we have deployed for both, as you said, like for the device identification, one zero knowledge, where we are creating the Merkle route and then committing it there. And the second one is for the federated one. Yeah, this is for the federated one. Okay, yeah, so I don't like, so we cannot show the demo here. It's there in the.
Okay.
Okay.
We're out of time. All right.
20
yes.
seconds? Yeah. So, okay, I can tell you. So we have the device here with us. So we have to inject the device for this demo. Basically, we will be putting that device. We have the chip, which will be providing those data. Like for now, we are using humidity and temperature and the quality of the crop. So we are sensing that in the zero knowledge. And then there where we are basically creating the local model and then committing. And then we are creating the global model, which we have in the demo. And then basically then you can ask the question to the.
Excellent. Thank you, Edge Chain. Okay, next up is our final one for AI, and that is Enterprise ZK. And then we'll have a break after that to stretch our legs, get a cup of tea, and jump back into it. Okay, Enterprise ZK. A hack participant we've seen in pretty much every hackathon we've had so far. So a repeat participant that we know and love in the elite program as well. So welcome, team, wherever you are. Come on deck, come on. As well as our MLH winners. Excited to have you on stage. Congratulations for making it to the finals. I'm so proud of you. Come on up. Oh, I see. Come on, get up here. Hi. Congratulations.
Wait 2 minutes. I have to connect mine. You can't connect. Okay, you'll play. You'll play it. Yeah. So they've got your slides. So you click. No, just a minute. Sure. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Thank you all. Thank you all. I hope you all know me from the last dance party, but those of you don't, but it's okay. I'm really excited to see you here all, and we're actually really honored to be here. We're Enterprise ZK. We're actually using Midnight to build an authentication layer on top of your Midnight Foundation's rational privacy, right? So that's my team, Manish, Utpal, and that's me, yeah. And we have our US person who could not be here for family reasons. So he's in Pennsylvania right now. Okay, so can you please just open your, what do you say, phone and you can scan it. I hope you've already done that. Probably you could follow along. It's okay. Demo happened to be on localhost. So what happened was our pointers don't point to localhost right now, so it might not work, but I'll actually show you on my local or on my YouTube, you could actually do that. So I'm going to just show you how it is happening right now. So the problem is, how do you know that your agent is real, right? How do you know that whoever you're interacting to, whatever your service you're using, is actually the person doing it? Yesterday, I was at Tesco, and this young chap the old chap came up to me, and he said, I'm the member of parliament. I would like to pay for your whatever you're buying. And I said, no, because I don't know him, right? And that security guy came up from me. He's the member of the parliament. I'm at Westminster Abbey. And he said, no, it's on me. Everything you buy is on me. I said, no, I don't know you. It could be a code that you're executing, and that's malware. But these guys, they trusted them, right? I did not. So the thing is, you don't know who is real, but it's you who is going to be affected with that, right? So you should know who is real and who is not. So we provide an authentication layer and an authorization layer for agents. So agents are taking over the world. Yesterday, Reuters actually Reuters wrote a report that OpenAI is signing up with Intuit, right? So it's not working. Can you help me out with that? Oh, sorry, my bad. Yeah. Anyway, so now agents are now managing our finances. Imagine you could go bankrupt just because you trusted the wrong guy or walked in the wrong store. So you could be like living on the streets next day. You could be like you're having your private jet, and next day you're homeless. So that could be you if you don't know who your agent is and what provider you're using actually. So we need to build a great solution that can give you that enterprise zero knowledge security. So we are the solution for that, because we've been actually down the routes with Midnight throughout the days. Even before the hackathon, we were really excited to be here, and we feel that we can really provide you the trusted authentication layer that can actually give you that a one-stop solution to trust yourself and not be homeless the next day, right? Okay, so we leverage Midnight's ZKBs and trust with a decentralized DApp called Agent DID. Agent DID is the enterprise ZK solution, right? So trusted verification, you can read with that. I'm short on time. I'll just get you the slides. And probably I'll just go over our demo that you can actually see. And I'll just open this round over to the judges to ask me any questions if that's possible, because I'm really short on time. Is that possible? No. Okay, no worries. Okay. So we have a really good demo, but it's not in the slides, unfortunately. But you could probably look it up with the QR code you have already done. You can do that and rate us and let us know how we're done, right? So, but rest assured, we actually do have a recorded video. You can do that. And thank you very much to host us. And we're honored, and we're really, really honored just to be on the finals as well.
Wow. Some incredible presentations so far. We're going to pause, take a 5-minute break, stretch your legs. We'll be back. We're kicking off with the finance category next. Hackers, we do have your presentations preloaded from that 8:30 presentation freeze, so no need to bring your laptops up to plug in. You're welcome to bring up to have some notes, but no need to bring a dongle of any kind. We've got it for you. Take a breath, use the restroom. We'll be back in 5 minutes. We're starting off with the privacy decks, by the way. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Husnan.
My name is Evan.
My name is Sam.
My name is Mickey.
I'm Emma. I'm Ivy.
My name is Dominic. I'm an early stage VC investor.
I'm a Web3 advisor.
I'm a developer here.
I am the Chief Digital Assets Officer for Asvoria.
I think the biggest barrier to Web3 adoption is education.
The normies can't access it. My mom doesn't know anything about it.
There's need to be more privacy. Like there's too much information going around online.
It comes down to, the culture overall and like just the mainstream sentiment. There's so much negativity.
It is very complex for newcomers.
I think it's an absolutely pivotal piece. If we don't get ourselves in a situation where we can have a functional online world, then people aren't going to pick up crypto because they're worried about their data being leaked.
I think that being able to, have ownership over your data is extremely important.
It's, at the top, it has to be there.
Privacy is so extremely important to on-chain mass adoption.
An ever-changing issue where it's like the more complex things become, like the more complex it becomes to maintain your privacy. Everything is traceable, so I'd like to see some more solutions around obfuscating some chain analytics stuff.
People deserve to, have information that they need to be shared to be available, and then information that they don't want to be shared should be kept private to them.
The ability to control what information you release.
A lot of scamming happens. People take advantage of the free nature. So somehow, some way, privacy could be better, security could be better for sure.
It's 1 minute past 11:59, right?
No, I have not heard of Midnight.
Midnight? No.
Yes, I have heard of Midnight. It is an amazing concept and very focused on privacy through ZK technology.
If you're a builder, now is the time to come to build on Midnight.
Midnight is here.
Now is the time to jump in and start learning with everyone else.
Super excited about ZK. ZK, for those who have not been following, gets 10 times faster every year. So it's never been a better time to get involved.
Developers have so many different opportunities to get started building on Midnight right now. We are always running hackathons virtually. We have them in person.
We have our academy to teach you how to interact with the system and how to build your first smart contracts.
We have the forum, a Discord. We have an ambassador program coming soon. We're questing, so we're gamifying learning. You name it, we have it. You want it, we'll build it.
You're looking to get into developing on these kind of newer technologies, make sure you're very patient, make sure you build really good mental models of how things are working under the hood, because things are going to happen that challenge your assumptions, and you're going to have to be very flexible and thoughtful about investigating those issues.
The big thing I want to highlight is to leave as much feedback as possible.
We have a lot of potential to create innovative solutions that allow for use cases that have never been done before.
Midnight's here for everybody. It's not built for a specific use case per se, but Midnight does have that secret sauce.
It's the beginning, right? We're not even at mainnet yet. Those who are here now, they're the OGs. Our community is reshaping what Midnight will become together.
Come get involved. Everything's out in the open, so it's up to you. Come on in.
There's still a lot to build. There's still a lot of 10x improvements. You want to help as either a DApp developer or as somebody who wants to contribute to the core technology. So you're more welcome to message me on Twitter. Happy to bring you in and get you to also contribute to this wonderful future we're building together.
When you think about when you travel, when you go through an airport, a train station, normally you go in a straight line, but when somebody's offering you a free drink or a free chocolate bar, what do? You deviate because you want that free access. If you go on any website today, cookies and everything else, you have to opt out. You don't.
And who does that?
Yeah. People just click, and you're through, and you're like, oh, I got to the place I want to be. And for that free access, you give away your right to your own privacy.
It's one thing when we say, hey, if we have to have a business relationship, I have to know certain things about you. Well, if you tell a person up front, what do you need to know, why do you need to know it, what I'm going to do with the information, that's a contract, that's a relationship. Where privacy really goes to hell is the stuff you didn't consent to, or you consented but you didn't know you consented.
We've got these couple of days where we're going to be rolling around Toronto asking people questions about how they feel about their own personal data, their privacy, their security online.
Do you think that people say they care about their privacy more than they actually do?
Absolutely.
Why is that?
Convenience trumps privacy every day of the week and twice on Sundays.
One hand, I'd prefer not to be sharing anywhere near as much, but I like the convenience aspect of it. And if I want the convenience and you want to operate in this world, you kind of have to build up a level of trust.
Do I have concern? Yes, and it seems like a lot of bots want to be my girlfriend, but, you know, I'm not falling for it so far, but I do have some concerns, certainly, and I mean, if it got ugly, I would just cancel all my social media presence, to be honest.
Have you ever thought, like, well, maybe I should modify what I do online so they don't find out so much about me?
Not really, no. I've never really thought about it. I don't know, it's just been normal at this point. It's just everywhere.
As someone who's working in building and designing networks, I wanted to ask, is there such a thing as, say, I don't even know what to call it, convenience-first privacy?
So there is such thing as privacy-first usability. It's called shell companies and serial LLCs, right? I mean, this stuff does exist. It just doesn't exist as an income point that is accessible to 99.9% of people.
Do you see like a future where the other 99.9% could have this kind of digital freedom and anonymity?
So I think the problem is no one's really willing to pay for it. Like we.
Great break. We're stepping into the finance category now. How exciting. The first team that we're starting with is Privacy Decks. So please, let's give them a warm welcome to the stage.
Okay. Red one back. Green one go. Yeah. And this is already. Okay, perfect. Thank you. Okay. Hi, everyone. We are Team Privacy Decks, and my name is Chris, and I want to quickly show you what we've been building the last few days. So first, I want to quickly motivate what we are doing. So I think most of you know what a decentralized exchange is. So you're storing, so you're trading on the blockchain, and this gives you a lot of benefits, like you do not need to trust the other entity you're trading with. Everything is accounted publicly. You do not have to, how should I say, you have this entire decentralization aspect. But what you're seeing on current blockchains is that a lot of information are public. So everyone can see which wallet is trading, what amounts you traded, what your trading patterns are, which on the one hand, of course, gives you a lot of transparency. But on the other hand, this is not what users might want to do. As you can see, for example, on Twitter, you see all the time people are tracking whale wallets, and maybe this person actually doesn't want to do that. And this is where Midnight comes in. The question is, can we take a lot of the aspects from what a public blockchain is offering, like this decentralization aspect and the trust, but at the same time offer you the privacy. And this is what we are trying to do with private decks. So we want to offer private swaps that gives users the ability to trade, but actually choose what they want to kind of reveal. So can actually anyone see what wallets traded, what amounts did they trade. And throughout the last days, we actually managed to get a live demo working on the Midnight network. And quickly, I want to tell you about our tech stack, what we've built, and then we will give Timo will start with a demo. So we mentioned to build compact contracts, meaning we built a kind of DEX contracts on the Midnight blockchain. We built an entire testing pipeline, enabling the automation of these contracts, testing them, and then we managed to take all this together and build it into a front end that interacts with the contracts, that computes swap amounts, that integrates the Lace wallet. And I think this is also a very good example that user onboarding on Midnight is working well and that you can already now build a live D-app. And with this, I want to give the word to Timo.
Now we are very proud to present you our demo. Yes. Here you see our dashboard. You can connect to the wallet and already see your balances of the token. On the side, you have the panels. You can swap privately. You can provide liquidity. You see your orders. And very important for the beginning, you can claim token. So for you to test our DEX, which is already available for you to test, you can claim some Moon or some Star token. And when you click claim, we already execute the transactions on the Midnight network, and the tokens are assigned to you. Then you can go to the swap panel, where you can select the token you want to swap. You can add the amount you want to swap, and based on the liquidity pools, we calculate the exchange rate. And when you click swap, we execute the transactions on the Midnight network and swap the tokens for you, and afterwards, your balance will get updated. You can also see your swap history and your orders in the order panel. But for the swap to work, we need liquidity pools, and those will be presented by Philip.
Exactly. Thank you very much. So, as my colleagues already mentioned, we implement an automated market maker, which of course has to act on a liquidity pool. And now the question is, who provides liquidity? So our pools are seeded, and every user can provide liquidity, gets in return, so he executes a transaction on the blockchain, which mints him some LP tokens, some liquidity provider tokens, which reflect his share in the pool. Kann man das sogar? Perfect. Yeah, let's see how that plays out in practice. So here the user first mints some token, claims some of our test tokens, executes a private swap on the chain. So this is all on the chain happening. Yeah, this already also integrates with the Lace wallet. Now he also wants to add some liquidity, so he executes a transaction, which mints his LP token, and yeah, gets him some share in the liquidity pool. Clicking. Yeah, sorry, I can't forward. Okay, thanks. Yeah, and I would say. Test it out yourself, perform your first private swap on the Midnight network. Thank you very much.
My goodness, thank you so much, Privacy Dex. Brick Towers, another repeat and elite member. Welcome to the stage. Can't wait to see what you two have put together. Let's give them a big round of applause.
Hello, hello. Very excited to be here.
Hi, hi.
So my name is Sergey. I'm with Siemens. We are Brick Towers. You may know us from the previous hackathons. We have been participating in few already. So we are experts in long-term savings solutions. We are building Herbal. It's a privacy-preserving savings app where you can save with your family and friends. And we also do help companies and people in the community to build applications on Midnight.
All right, and today's topic is real-world asset tokenization. So this is being talked a lot, but the widespread adoption on the blockchain hasn't been there. And the big missing piece has been privacy, to actually enable it in a compliant way. Because the real-world assets needs to bridge from the real world, where trust is achieved more with compliance and audits, to the blockchain and the smart contracts. And our vision is to create an algorithmic compliance layer with Midnight, where the traditional assets could be issued and traded on chain without revealing the holder information and having compliance rules enforced. So this works such that the issuer issues real-world asset on chain, but the core value of that is that privacy-first finance transactions, balances, and identities remain confidential. So this enables institutions to enter the space. So let me show you a video. This is our Herbal app, where among the normal savings functionality for you and others, you can also access new assets. So for the hedge fund, you need to become accredited, you need to answer some questions, you need to provide proof of enough wealth, which is the balance of your wallet. You need to check your identity, and now you are eligible to buy this token. So how it works? The issuer acquires the hedge fund off-chain and issues tokens on-chain via Midnight smart contract. And then this can be provided as a liquidity to DEX. And then investor, the first time, needs to go through the process which you saw to prove eligibility to hold and trade these assets. And afterwards, the next time, the proof is already there, and you basically get a pretty regular DEX experience. So why on Midnight, right? This changes a lot of things. The shielded tokens is a really powerful feature which allows to shield the transactions, the metadata, and how the tokens move, but also allows you to still keep the ability to selectively disclose to the parties that it actually everything worked according to the rules. So the target audience is accredited investors seeking privacy, where you get additional benefits by trading on the blockchain with faster settlement times and so on. So we are launching the MVP on Midnight testnet. At the moment, we're working on building this into the Herbal mobile app. We still miss some features on Midnight to complete, but by mainnet, I think we should be there. And yeah, we need to work with partners to bring the actual assets. So we have developed a fully working contract on Midnight, which checks all those credentials. So now it's about integrations and moving it forward. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Bravo, guys. Okay, so Fluid 7, you are up next. Money, you are on deck. If you could come down, that would be super helpful for our tech crew. And then Lucent Labs, you are on, what's that order of operations in the baseball world? On deck? On pitch? I'm not quite sure, but you're on deck, you're after that one. Let's just have you aware of that. And that will then finish us off for the finance category. So Fluid 7, Money, and then Lucent Labs. Thanks, folks. Let's give them a round of applause.
Morning, everyone. My name's Jonathan. I'm from Fluid7. I run a small dev agency in Coventry, and I'm also a stake pool operator for the Cardano blockchain. My issue was that I attract delegators to my pool, and typically they are investors of some sort. To date, if we want to collaborate as a group of investors in investment opportunities, it requires trusting people, it requires proving who we are, what we're worth, knowing a lot of details about each other. What I wanted to do was to build a platform that supported us in finding traders to help with investors deploying capital, but without revealing unnecessary information to this small organization, small group. So I built a platform to enable us to gather together as investors and traders. And the first challenge was that if we're going to comply with regulation, if we're going to meet the regulators where they're at and prove that we're trying to be diligent in our use of trading funds and not revealing information, not retaining information in places that we shouldn't be. One of the challenges was that we can let investors self-declare their worth, their net worth. And so this was a great application for Midnight. Normally when you're declaring your net worth, you're having to do manual document submission, you're gathering proof of assets, and you're handing it over to a third party, to a centralized exchange or a trading or a broker platform. Instead, why not have, if the future is fractionalized assets, why not have that proof just built on chain so you retain your data? What we're doing is letting investors on the platform attach their wallets that hold their assets, whether that is tokens, if they are, in the future will of course be fractionalized real estate and all the rest. Attach those to the platform, let them show that they have a net worth to above a certain threshold, but do it all ephemeral data, so there's no storage of that information. There's just enough information to sign a zero knowledge proof that then goes on chain. Once that proof is on chain, anybody can reference it to know what level of assets they hold. So investors can come onto the platform, they can enter their details, connect their wallets from various blockchains. This is not exclusive to holding assets on Midnight or on Cardano or Solana. You can attach any wallet, and then we get those wallets to sign messages showing that they do have control of those assets, and that's enough to gather information on the total balance within those wallets that we can then verify into a zero knowledge proof. Those messages are signed, and any data that was attached to it, the addresses, the balances, can all be deleted, can only reside in memory and be deleted straight away. But that proof then goes on chain. So the proof that you have a balance above $50,000, $100,000, $250,000 is then written into Midnight with a timestamp, so you can make that knowledge, that verification valid for a certain period of time. And your privacy is protected, your account are not tracked on chain, and you get instant verification. It can all happen in real time. And you can prove to the regulators that you are trying to comply with the authorities that you're under. As all assets will eventually be stored on chain, as has been said by several people before, I think this is a great way to really protect individuals and keep information safe, not having to allow every organization that forms, every loose gathering of people that forms, doesn't have to retain that data. It can reside with the individual. We maintain self-sovereignty, and it can be decentralized. So really, I want to contribute to the open DAO tooling space with solutions like this that anybody can partake in, anyone can take hold of. And Midnight is allowing us to do this in new and fresh ways. Thanks for the time.
Fantastic. Thank you, Fluid7. So I Googled it. In the world of baseball, it's at bat, I should have been saying. It's money. And then on deck, it's Lucent Labs. And in the hole, it's Eric's Raccoons. And there isn't an equivalent for the Londoners for cricket or rugby. But it's, I think, maybe on pitch, at the pitch. I'll work on that as we workshop moving into governance. That's our final category, by the way. So thank you, everyone, for getting us through this. We are almost done with our finance category and then moving through to governance. But for now, money, take it away.
Test. I'm a bit nervous, but I would love to have your 5-minute attention. So, privacy is great, Midnight is great, but I think privacy is broken and Midnight is incomplete. Because at the moment of speaking, there are more than 700 of privacy projects and over 1K of blockchains, but they are siloed and independent, which cause fragmented user experience liquidity, especially for privacy projects like Privacy Cache on Solana, Umbra on Solana, privacy pools on Ethereum, they can't interact with each other. There's many privacy blockchains, Aztec, Maiden. They're all fragmented. So today, we are connecting Midnight to the world with real use case, where allow you to pay and receive from your preferred chain and protocols without the need to leave your favorite chain and protocol, but enjoy Midnight programmable, compliant, and privacy. So we believe that just pay and receive is not enough, which is why we come to the idea of cross-chain private banking that read this pay and receive with invoice payment link that allow you to create payment link and allow your customer to pay from their preferred chain so that they don't need to move to your chain just to pay you. Yeah, and just enable you to pay from maybe Startnet, EVM, Solana, or if you are using Railgun, Ethereum privacy pools, but settle in Midnight compliantly and receive on your destination chain. This is just a high-level overview. On the left side, you just users using their preferred blockchain, settle in Midnight, and go to their destination chain. But your users can also be in Midnight. It's totally fine. I would like to skip this, but does it have a future? Is there a market? But I believe it's yes, because according to research in 2024, the crypto payroll market was around 1.48 billion. And Rise, which is one of the top players in crypto payroll, their 2025 crypto payroll report shows that around 25% of companies now, at the moment speaking, pay part of their salary in crypto, which can be 25, 75%, but which very less that they pay 100% in crypto. And that's also early traction that I did interviews with some founders. 5 of them expressed the need that they need something like this. But why now is a good timing is because first it's a growing market. As mentioned, there's around 25% of companies pay in crypto from the Rise report, but it's actually 15% in 2023. And the second is the lifted sanctions on Tornado Cash actually signal the openness of privacy on blockchain. Now I'd like to talk a little bit about competitors. So there's a few crypto payroll or banking application nowadays, including Request Finance, Rise, Bitwage, Otoku, and also CorporateX. They are good, but they lack of privacy. Second is they support multi-chain instead of cross-chain. So at the end of the day, you still need to set up for wallet in each chain, which is I personally don't like it. How we can generate revenue? So basically, it's simple. It's a B2B business where very straightforward. We can use subscription-based and charging fee on fiat operation because, as mentioned, is like part of paying fiat, part of in crypto. So we can charge fee on that as well as extra worker fee. So you want to add more team member, you pay me. How we can get our first customer? Personally, we can do one-to-one reach out because it's B2B. Second is joining incubators, maybe I don't know, S16Z CSX. That's my dream. Also partners with ecosystem like Midnight. We've just, this is just a demo that we built in a few days that allow you to create a payment link and allow the payer to pay you either in Startnet with Start or paying you in Midnight. So you can create a payment link, share the payment link, and allow you to pay in Start, and this will bridge to Midnight and receive your fund on Midnight. as well as you can pay in TDAS. It's just a simple transfer. I would like to skip this. Yeah, that's it. But I also like to mention, in the future, we can even make this like more like an extension to existing traditional payroll application like Deal ADP, that you can become an extension that plug into them, and they use us as a privacy settlement layer for crypto payroll, so that they don't need to rebuild the infrastructure by themselves. That's also a future plan. That's it. Thank you.
We'll get us started again. We'll kick off with Eric's raccoons. You are going to get us... Hello, yay, we're so excited to kick off the governance track. Come on stage. Let's give them a warm welcome and learn about their project.
Test. Hello. Okay. Hello, everyone. I'm Chino. I'm a mathematician, and I work at Eric's. Is this working? It's not working. What? Okay. There we go. Well, we're Eric's. We're a workers' cooperative specializing in cryptography and privacy-preserving technologies, and we're from Argentina. Okay, today, if you want to go to an event and buy a ticket, you have to sacrifice privacy. You will always end up giving away a lot of personal information that the organizer ends up keeping and storing. There are also unnecessary intermediates charging high rates for you to buy the tickets and use their service. And also the cost of the service is on the ticket selling rather than the ticket validation, where is the actual human interaction is. Here are some percentages that some of these intermediaries charge for the service. It's quite a bit, and let's remember that they also control your tickets and directly attack your freedom of commerce with the tickets. So to solve this, we designed and implemented CipherPass. This is a framework to buy tickets privately. You can either create events, buy tickets, or even check your entry when you get into the venue. This removes unnecessary intermediates because we replace them with Midnight smart contracts. It prevents fraudulent or unfair ticket reselling. And we also have a feature which is selective disclosure at the venue so that you don't give away the whole information and only the desired piece of information. Okay, but why Midnight? Well, we didn't think of this to get into Midnight. We designed this specifically for Midnight because we have private transactions. That way, you cannot get the information of who is buying each ticket. We also have native selective disclosure thanks to the integrated Merkle trees machinery that Midnight offers. And we also are in a zero-knowledge friendly environment where we can keep the inputs private, which is key since it's the sensitive data. Okay, but how does this work? Well, first you fill in the form with all the information, but instead of exposing this information, you just build a Merkle tree, which is this really nice data structure, which lets you prove data privately. And you just take the ticket ID, which is the root of the tree, and this will be the actual ticket for the event. When you arrive at the venue, the verifier, which is like the bouncer of the venue, just picks one of the fields or of a subset of the fields he wants you to reveal, and you just build the Merkle proof revealing only those fields and expose them via a QR code. Oh, okay. I didn't know this was here. This is a simulation of the interaction with the bouncer. You just show him the QR code, and everything's good. Look how happy the bouncer is. This is a bit of the front end we built. We built a web app where you can create your event, purchase the tickets, or even get into this flow of verification which generates you the QR codes. It is quite smooth. Okay, but what about the business model? Well, this is quite simple. Less intermediaries means less maintenance costs, which means a cheaper experience for both the buyer and the organizer. And we also charge for tickets claimed instead of the tickets issued. That's because we want to focus on the venue being full instead of sold out, which is the ideal scenario for all of the parties involved. What plans do we have for this in the future? Well, this is a highly customizable environment, so we can modify the protocol to create a secondary market where we can get a fair and with clear rules ticket exchange for reselling. We also can impose restrictions on the data we have to fill to get the ticket, for example, being over 18. And we're also democratizing this mechanism because it is all open source and you just have to deploy your contract and your event will be on, so everyone can organize its own event. Okay, so this is a product we deeply believe in, and thank you very much for listening.
Wonderful, thank you so much. Okay, next up we have Keed. Come on down. Let's give them a warm welcome to the stage. On deck is Chain Vault, by the way, so you can come up and get prepped too.
So we are Gate, we're a solution, and we provide a solution with solving the biggest problem to Web3 to go to the mainstream. People want a simple digital identity they can use without understanding the technology. Midnight makes that possible, and Gate is the first product that brings the real users to the network with zero friction. So digital identity is broken today. Every bank, exchange, casino, or fintech repeats the same KYC. Users upload documents again and again, and companies store this data. Nothing is interoperable. And most people don't want to understand blockchain. They just expect this work easily. Okay, we stay in another hackathon in Buenos Aires, and we win this hackathon and present this solution. And we enter in as a game, and we discover Midnight is privacy and blockchain and compliance. So what is KYC? What is CAID? CAID is a private credential built on Midnight. You verify the entity once, and credential is created, and you can use it to any platform: banks, real-world assets, exchanges, and regulated games, etc. All without repeating KYC. Okay, we have a demo.
Demo play. Yeah. Big size, please.
So in this demo, you can see the person complete the information, upload the document, the ID, and they can show the face and prove this is a person, a really human, and then sing with lace. And they can see and show the credential. It's okay. So we provide the identity credential, humanity credential, and the Asian credential.
So it's just simple. No repeat KYC, no data exposure. They control exactly what they share. And on top of that, they receive incentives for using their identity.
Okay, Midnight integration. The question is, why it's Midnight? And I think so that Midnight provides to Kate the security of transaction disclosure in selective disclosure and CTACA proof for all system with Kate improves. About the business model and adoption, we create 10 phases for get 1 million user in the platform. That the incentive in the platform is the user can earn benefits on Night token for use case. In the registration is this for get all user in the network, and Night token for reuse this credential in other platforms. This is the halving K is all the phases and the most that would change the price for the company, at the user, for register, or for reuse the credential in another apps. This is the same about the adoption of the user with the phase 1, with the phase company, and the user resides in all phase. And economy after phase 10 truths exactly about the company's paid all sustainability and the earning for the user on Night token.
Okay. So the idea of Midnight of Kate is provide decentralized credentials, and the persons use in all application, and they don't repeat this KYC. So we are Kate, and we are here to bring the users to Midnight to this easily solution, and get these first million users to Midnight and are not repeatedly in KYC.
Wonderful. Thank you, Keed. Okay, Chain Vault, you're up next. Come on down. Here you are. Bebop, you'll be next. Break a leg, guys.
Good morning, everyone. It's great to be here. I know it's been like a long day, so I'll try and keep this engaging. So yeah, we're Team Chain Vault. We're a team of 4 undergraduate students at UC Berkeley, and we built Chain Vault. So imagine Sarah. Wait. Clicker. Okay. Imagine Sarah. She manages more than 50 suppliers across different countries. Every time she verifies a delivery, she's forced to share her pricing. Every audit leaks competitive information to partners and regulators, and she's stuck between proving she's compliant and giving away her competitive playbook. This is the day-to-day reality for supply chain managers worldwide.
Here's the problem. Right now, whenever individuals are going through supply chain management and trying to verify their product got from point A to point B, there's a lot of steps that go along that. But in terms of that, there's a lot of contracting that has to occur with legal contracts for financial pricing, as well as the fact that currently a lot of revenue is lost and that supply chains are drowning in this manual verification. And so our solution pretty much kind of automates this by making sure that we have a witness that is able to see whenever product is actually received. This allows for the contract to be fulfilled and the funds to be released. And this is done, the way that we use Midnight for this is that we use the zero-knowledge contract by verifying the compliance and making sure that only some aspects of each part of the supply chain is verified, and we use selective disclosure to show that to different parts of the supply chain. And our features pretty much focus on this through our smart contracts and our compliance proofs. And we have a user flow where we upload our information, we set our permissions, and make sure that from point A to point B, only specific aspects of a company or of a supply chain can view that part. And so with our blockchain features, we use this selective disclosure and use our smart contracts that are already pre-enabled, as well as try to have escrow release with GPS triggers to make sure that this compliance is then proved. And now we will show you our demo.
Okay, yeah, so imagine we're Oakland Apparel ordering like 10,000 jackets, so we're gonna have 10,000 units down here. We're basically going to mark down our quantity, price, delivery point with the latitude and longitude there. And then this all the pricing will stay private throughout the process. We'll create the order, we'll add a note, like a condition, right, throughout the process. For example, like our condition here is allowed staggered pickup in case of like port delays or travel delays. And these notes will travel with the order as we go on. Next, we go on to the side where the buyer review, the Oakland will only see what is necessary. Here you can see the price is not shown, so they only see what is necessary through Midnight. And then here we create the hash we create a zero-knowledge proof, which has encrypted data building the circuit. Here you have the navigation side, the logistics view of fast ship. So it tracks the container live, update speed, ETA, environmental stats. We can also add another condition here, for example, we add here is audit sample retained for 6 months. And finally, after that, we confirm the delivery, so that's the whole flow. And then we also have, as you can see, delivery history has all the conditions saved throughout. And finally, the main important part, obviously, is the regulation. So here, the regulation, trade competency, verification metrics, the proof hash, all the conditions. So basically, the whole process of the delivery and the order, but all of it is obviously the important information that the companies want to keep private is hashed. So we use Midnight to basically keep that private. Yeah. Okay. Next, so as a whole, the supply chain world moves over $29 billion worth of goods, yet adoption of blockchain has been slow because public ledgers expose too much. We position Midnight as the privacy foundation for cross-border trade where companies can operate confidentially while still proving compliance. We enable like pharmaceutical giants, manufacturers, logistic networks to execute smart contracts with cryptographic confidentiality and regulatory transparency simultaneously. So some next steps we're thinking about is obviously maybe like a launch a beta with 3 enterprise pilots, integrate like major ERP systems obviously that these supply chains already use, for example like SAP, Oracle, and also build a compliance library for these different countries across the world that all have different compliance systems. And yeah, thank you for listening.
Thank you, Chain Vault. Another MLH winner. Congratulations for making it to the finals. Okay, Bebop. And then on deck we have Oblivion Protocol. So please be aware that you'll be going next. Welcome Bebop to the stage. Come on. Daria, thank you. We're making it move through. We're very close. After Oblivion Protocol, by the way, folks, it's Carthage X Labs, so be aware.
Hello, my name is Armando Medina. For this hackathon, I created, not this, like I will speak about this, but I created an open vote, and I will tell you why. I come from Venezuela, and in Venezuela, they did something very shady. They created a database for everyone that was against the government. And they used that database a lot to do a lot of bad things to everyone. You can search my name, I'm there, because I signed against. I didn't want to take my signature, so I'm there forever. So that's why privacy is important to me. And I think Midnight, it's a great way to have privacy. And that's what I'm going to talk about. In the Bell protocol, this is my teammate. He's not here, he couldn't come, he's in Buenos Aires. I did fly here like 16 or 17 hours because I wanted to participate for this hackathon. I participated in another one in Berlin, which I did something similar because I'm really interested in having private voting. So I've been programming for maybe 30 years. I've been in Web3 for 2.5 years. I've tried almost every technology for privacy, and I think I feel very comfortable using Midnight. I feel that it has the right tools to do what I want to accomplish, which was what I was saying, the Bell protocol. What we want is to create an entire privacy ecosystem because we wanted to replace banks with blockchain, right? But we're not really doing it because all the information is public. I don't want everyone knowing what I do, what I spend, where my funds are, how much do I have, what NFTs I hold, right? I want to show what I want to show, the selective disclosure, right? So that's why I created the Open Vote, a voting platform that you can just create a proposal and vote, right? This is very simple, but the idea is much bigger. This is the problem we have in Web3, right? That I was saying before. Everything is public. Or you have privacy coins, which are not compliant. We don't want that either. We want to have the best of both worlds, right? We want to have the private part, the selective disclosure part, so the bad actors cannot join us. We don't want the bad actors, right? We just want, like, regular people have their own privacy. So what is the solution? The solution is exactly Midnight. Like, you can have your private information safe, you can have compliance, you can have the selective disclosure, and then everyone will be happy. So the other thing is that people will want to come into the Midnight ecosystem, so you will have to have a bunch of tools to be built on Midnight. You need the identity, you need the voting, you need the access because people are going to be able to trade. You need the health part, but you want to have that data in your control. You don't have a third party to have control because data leaks are happening right and left. My data is probably leaked so many times. I usually get an email like, your data was leaked, your data was leaked, your data was leaked. I'm like, okay, I'm everywhere, right? So that is very annoying. So the market opportunity is huge. We have a lot of money inflow into trading. We have the healthcare sector, the banking sector. The banking sector is actually, they're setting up their own blockchains, which is like, it doesn't make sense, right? They're replacing one technology with the other, but we can provide it a public blockchain with privacy for them. So that is my presentation. This is me, Armando Medina, and this is my teammate, Giovanni. I did have a small video, but it's more about the idea, what I wanted to present. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much. How powerful to have such a personal story. Okay, Oblivion Protocol, y'all are up next. You're right here, perfect. Carthage X Labs, you are after that. And then our final one, Lucent Labs. Big round of applause, let's go.
Thank you. It looks like South America is having problems with identity because they have a team from Argentina, a guy from Venezuela, and I'm from Brazil. My name is Luis, and it's a pleasure being here. So I'm going to talk about Oblivion Protocol, the future of data deletion compliance. So when you have an Instagram account and you want to delete your data, and you go to the application and click the button delete, and can you trust that it was deleted? The data from their servers, from their backup, from their database logs, and even from their AI settings. So you have to trust Instagram that it was deleted. And there is a real problem with the healthcare reality. So the hospitals, they have to literally destroy the hard drives to prove that your data was deleted, because they cannot prove, the auditors, that it was the data was deleted. So what is the problem with this? They have to delete the hard drive because the auditor, they arrived at the hospital and ask, is the data deleted? And the hospital says, yes, it was deleted. You have to trust. So the auditor is not going to believe you. And then you can show the data log. But since you have control of the data log, so the auditor is not going to trust also. So you have to show that you have destroyed the hard drives. That's the way that you cannot get a fine. And even doing that, if you miss one record, you are going to get a fine. So you see Meta, Amazon, and Google, they had fines because they were not GDPR compliance. And what is the industry? They are leaking money. So, for example, they have healthcare. 47% of the European Union hospitals destroy their drives. And they spent 2.3 billion of euros destroying it. And the finance, they have to spend 50 euros for each request to prove that it was deleted. It is a manual process. And the e-commerce is kind of impossible to do it manually because they have a lot of requests. So here is what we are going to try to solve, using a receipt to prove that the data was deleted. So, sorry. So, sorry. Before, so your auditors goes to the hospital and ask to prove that it was deleted. And they have to show that the hard drives that were crashed. But using Oblivion Protocol, what the auditor is going to ask for proof that you deleted the data. And the hospital is going to show this proof, the ZKP proof, and the auditor is going to verify using the Midnight Explorer that it was deleted. So we create a SDK that is very simple to install. It's a Node.js package, and you have 3 lines of code to initialize it, and then when you store a data in your database, you use this SDK, Oblivion SDK. So what happens behind this thing? So we store the data in the database using a DID standard. And then when it's deleted, you will use the Oblivion SDK, and it is going to return the proof that it was deleted. And the auditors just need to use this proof and the Midnight Explorer to make sure that the data was deleted. So here is a print screen of our application. We were able to develop the front end and the smart contracts, and it's deployed on testnet. And so I'm going to show. So what we have before my time is run out, would like to say thank you to my other teammates. We worked together remotely. It's Anship and Saurabh, and that's it. Thank you.
Wonderful. Okay, our final for the governance category is Carthage X Labs. Let's give them a warm welcome.
5 minutes on this. Hello, everyone. So here, so my name is Ahmed, and I'm going to talk about ZK Tenant ID. So it's a privacy preserving identity framework. So the digital identity is one of the hottest topics, especially for next year in Europe, by the rolling of the digital identity application in Europe. And as governments and companies, they are digitizing everything, and this creates a trade-off between utility and privacy. And what we are exploring here, this centralization approach has created the honeypots problem. So we have studied the Tunisian market, so where we have a digital identity application. It's called eHawiya. So this application allows you to get a birth certificate, to make a digital signature, but there is a lot of NGOs and that rise aware of that it's a black box. So we don't know how they handle the data, and we are trying to solve this issue by using the ZK Tenant ID as a privacy layer for the eHawiya application. And also the old approach for the KYC AML. So they collect data and they are stored in their servers for a long term. So our solution, we try to protect facts and give back the citizens their identity, basically, their data. So this is a paradigm shift. So where we try to get rid of the old way of the KYC, so where you need to, if you want to prove your date of birth, you give your data, but with the ZK Tenant ID, so you keep your data and you can prove that you are over 18. So the feature is that you can make age verification, identity validity, and also you can attest that you are a student to have some services provided to you. So the technology stack, we built on Midnight, and Midnight will be our backbone for building ZK Tenant ID. So we have a huge opportunity, so we can work with governments, with financial services, Web ID, and our initial target is the Tunisian market, and then we can expand abroad. So I said, so here we can make having fundings. We can we start making some connection to build the application with a pilot project with some Tunisian companies. And thank you.
All right, we've made it to our final presentation of the day, everyone. Let's give a warm welcome to our final finance demo, Lucent Labs. Come on down.
Hello, everyone. My name is Nestor Campos, and we are Lucent Labs. Sorry. Our project is called IRStake. We are building a compliant liquid staking protocol. Why? At first, We know in our experience, the industry, businesses, companies require a better solution for staking. So private, like any off-chain contract agreement, and at the same time, secure and liquid, like any public network right now. Imagine you have a company, any company, tech or non-tech. You have some capital, either capital and liquid, to invest in any type of investment. You know about the staking, so you decide to stake that money. You have a dilemma. Public or private. If you select private, of course, you know you have some security issues because you are sharing everything, not just for every bad actor. Also, you have competitors, so it's a business strategy issue because you are sharing how you invest your money. And the second option is to invest using private networks, but they are not compliant. In that point, of course, you love to share all the information to your government. You love pay more and more taxes. Maybe that is a lie, but still you need to pay some taxes. You need to share some information to your government. That's why we need compliance in that. That's why we are building IRStake, a private and compliant solution for liquid staking built on Midnight Network. Maybe you know about liquid staking. You invest your money, you set some asset, and you receive liquid staking to invest in any decentralized app in the ecosystem. Previous of that, the idea is validate who you are with a KYC process, and at the same time validate which company you are representing. In this context, with a KYB, know your business process. We are going to use some different third-party providers with that token, with that validating this identity. If we validate that, you can share or send the tokens, your assets, and you will receive different liquid tokens to invest in any process without exposure your data, your company data, with us. Just share the minimum viable data as possible to use in the platform, and at the same time with compliance. Now, this is the demo. The first link is the full repo if you want to deploy by yourself, deploy the contracts, and all the demo. The second link below is the demo if you want to use that right now. You need, of course, the Lace wallet on Midnight with some test token to use right now. But why use IRStake? First, we combine the privacy with liquidity. Again, you need to share just the minimum viable data as possible with us to validate who you are, which is your company, nothing else. It doesn't matter. You don't need to share about how much money you are investing to the rest of the world. It doesn't matter for us. And that's privacy and the liquidity because we are validating which asset we accept. The idea is accepting more and more in the future. It's about compliance also, because we need to share sometimes with your government, with the regulators, some information. For example, your investment, you need to declare that every year. So we combine that using zero-knowledge proof. And we are unlocking institutional capital, either capital. Right now, the market represents over $200 trillion every year, just in idle and illiquid liquid capital to invest in any context. This is the roadmap. Right now, we have the MVP. We need to add some new features. Also, the idea is scaling, working with more institutions, companies, and with more partnership. Also, because we need this KYC, KYB process. And the idea is evolving because we require the interoperability on Midnight Network. Why? Because the idea is enable staking not just on Midnight. It's also about use stake tokens from Cardano, Ethereum, Solana, XRP Ledger, etc. Because that's the idea is give more options to company, and they decide how invest their money. Who we are Lassen Labs. We have experience not just on Midnight. We won a hackathon a couple of months ago. Also, we have experience with compliance in the public and private sector. We have experience working with central banks and central bank digital currencies. So we need, and we have the experience working in a long-term way. So join us in the future of the investment in liquid capital for institutions. Thank you so much.
Can I have the clicker? Thank you. Okay, everyone. Here's what's happening right now. We are going to enter into deliberation phase. Our esteemed judges are going to clickety-clack away and enter their scores that they've been deliberating on as they've been taking notes diligently as you've all been presenting. But please don't go anywhere, hackers, because this is some interactivity that's going to happen because we have a Hacker's Choice Award. Please take a photo or scan this QR code and participate in this opportunity to have your voice heard. Who of these 16 do you believe was the best of the best? Of your peers, who deserves to continue on building out their application, their project? Which one deserves to go from prototype to application and real app on mainnet? Which one deserves mentorship from Midnight Foundation, from the solution engineers, from Sebastian, our Chief Technical Officer, from the developer relations team? That's what Build Club offers. So please vote. We'll leave this up. We are reconvening at 11:55, so exactly 1 hour. We will see you soon. We can't wait to announce the winners. We'll talk to you then. Cheers.
Forget just how profitable ads are. Like if a website actually went ad-free, like if Facebook actually went ad-free, they would be charging you $70 a month.
I use quite a few apps and platforms like Facebook, Instagram. I just use it for free. They want us to pay premium, but I always skip it.
Amount of data we leave behind, or the digital breadcrumbs, can probably predict what I'm going to say next better than I could.
Does that scare you?
Yes, but the convenience that comes with it is oh so sweet. So it's a challenging trade-off, but it is very scary if it's ever weaponized or used against people. That's when I think it really comes out.
Reputation is key. So reputation becomes a currency. It becomes valuable. It's based on your reputation score. People will trust you or not trust you in a world that becomes increasingly digital. It does affect potentially your access, your freedom.
People can make their own decisions about how to safeguard their privacy or not, and some of us don't care, and some of us do care about surveillance. Some of us think that surveillance is actually a good thing because it makes our lives seemingly more convenient, but what people do have a right to is to know what's going on. And what worries me so much personally are these new AI systems where we really have no idea how the data is being used. It's a big black box, and that's the argument, obviously, for employing blockchain technology alongside AI, because it gives people some verification into these systems. The fact that we're asking these questions and we're having these conversations is because of the crypto movement. It's because of these people who are here today, and I think it's the questioning of the world around us that's actually, in the end, maybe the most important thing.
Education's important. We need to make sure that people understand what it is that they're giving up in return for what they're receiving, and whether that exchange of value is worth it.
Privacy in Motion explores how your personal data fuels billion-dollar systems, while examining who controls the rules of digital privacy and what it truly means to own and protect your identity.
With the Web 2 structure, everybody's data is seen as a natural resource, like oil, that companies like Meta, Google, etc. have the freedom to extract and sell and use for their own businesses.
It is on that sort of, oil kind of level. It's the fight for the control of the future.
Name the number of things you actually truly own. right? And it's pretty much limited to crypto and clothing.
Yeah, not even my NFTs.
Certainly not your NFTs. They're governed by a licensing agreement, but every book you purchase is governed by a license agreement. Every song you purchase, your house, right? You owe property taxes that you don't own it.
Look at the top 7, the Magnificent 7, and how wealthy they've become by monetizing our data. The algorithms they push to you constantly and stream to you, and how ad tech companies benefit from that and push more information to you, and we just consume it. And we're carnivorous about it, and we just consume it, and we assume that's normal.
Every time you use one of these free products, you are the product.
If you had to put a dollar figure on the value of your own personal data, how much would you say it's worth?
Wow. Here's $1 million, my $1.
But a lot of these big tech platforms, they make a lot of money off your data. Like, you know, they sort of say, oh, well, you can use our platform for free, but actually they're selling your data to advertisers. Like, do you think that's fair?
No, but the government lets them do it.
Think about it from the perspective of a user, right? Like, is Facebook worth $70 a month to me? The answer probably is no. But is my data in aggregate worth that much to Facebook? The answer is definitely yes. How much does privacy truly cost? And the answer, time and time again, is people aren't really willing to pay for it, and these platforms aren't willing to take the economic hit.
It's not fair if, you know, Facebook is making money off of my data, my hours that I spend on the platform, and I'm not involved in that conversation at all. And especially if I'm in an emerging economy, that my economy and my community that is feeding the data is not really getting any of the rewards.
If you really do want full self-sovereignty, like, that's great until someone tries to challenge your sovereignty.
What would we need to do in order to redesign the system so perhaps the users of these digital networks could perhaps profit from sharing their data?
Well, look at Brave. You know, 2 of the Magnificent 7 make a big chunk of their money from ads when you look at Google and Meta, for example. So innovating the privacy enhancement technology that Brave has with BAT token, you know, thinking about that from a Midnight lens, you're already showing a commercial model where they can still get their business model running. Because at the end of the day, when I give you an ad, I want it to be relevant to you because I want you to click it. I don't need to know you, but I, as a consequence of the business model, end up knowing you. So, but if I can have a situation where I don't have to know anything about you and I get even more effective ads, I'd prefer that reality because it's actually lower risk for me as a company like Google or a company like Meta.
When it comes to your data, who decides what's fair, what's safe, and what's off limits? Governments promise protection, but history tells us they can be both watchdog and weapon. It's time to take privacy into our own hands. Privacy in Motion explores how your personal data fuels billion-dollar systems, while examining who controls the rules of digital privacy and what it truly means to own and protect your identity.
Today, if you think about how society, corporations, governance, and governments have moved, we hand a lot of power away.
When you aggregate power and capability, there will always be, inevitably, over a long enough period of time, abuses of that power. This is why every system has to have checks and balances, every system has to have oversight. And the reason why we tend to aggregate power is because of frustration and bureaucracy.
Do you trust your government more, or say like a big tech company like Facebook or TikTok or Google or something? Neither?
The government and big tech are almost intertwined now, which is a concern. So I don't know how to get off the, how to get off the plane.
At the end of the day, I'd rather have much more control of my own information than having someone else having access to all of that.
I wanted to start off by asking you, you've said a lot that freedom is a fundamental right, but in a world that's driven by convenience, do you think we've given up a lot of that freedom just to make our lives easy?
Yeah, I think we have. And there's an overwhelmingly pervasive amount of information that's collected, everything from where you're going to who you're talking to, what you're searching for. And it's not really clear who gets to see that, under what contexts they get to see that, if you're ever going to be forgotten in these types of things. And it's got so bad, like Google knows you're pregnant before your parents do. You know, in fact, somebody wrote an article about this, and they call it surveillance capitalism. So this is the kind of data privacy that in a global world we have to focus a lot on, because it's being exacerbated by AI. It kind of started with search engines and the modern early web, like with Google search and these things, and then social media came. We started oversharing everything. Now with AI, it's deeply integrated into everything we think and do. This is a new world, and really, you can't solve it through laws, and you can't solve it through one good company doing something. You need to solve it through protocols.
I think the government has an important role to play. What we're really missing is like additional tools to ensure like safety and security online.
So I'd much rather if the privacy was actually in the privacy layer itself of the internet, that it was safeguarded within the plumbing of the system, rather than sort of as a response to regulation that comes heavy-handedly after the fact.
Do you think that governments can be trusted with our data in the name of protection, or do you think decentralized networks would be better to handle that? Why? Which one?
I mean, the founding fathers didn't think so. That's why they wrote the Bill of Rights. It was not a positive liberties, they were negative liberties. They restricted what the government could do to us. So architects of great societies, what they do is they build in at the highest law checks and balances that protect us. The issue is that laws are cooperative equilibria. People have to work together to update and modernize them as technology changes. And so while the right to privacy in a world of horse carriages and buggies and handwritten letters, that was something that was easy to wrap your head around and understand. And also by nature of the communication, the latency was so high that everybody had an opportunity to be very deliberate in what they thought about. Now we live in a world of instantaneous communication and mass big data and all this other stuff and AI. So the Constitution's a little far from this. And so what you have to do is you have to get people together and say, okay, how do we build things where we can kind of extend the Constitution, extend the concepts of rights, and use protocols to almost be like a synthetic Bill of Rights?
Bringing Web3 communities in, getting them to think about what is the evolution of not only the network, but how they use it, is an important sort of change in how Web3 and Web2 have evolved. Education is important, and then letting individuals and the community decide how data is used or what the path and the future of the network is. Bringing the community in to evolve that sort of conversation is an important part of our growth.
Our hope is that Midnight can kind of be that connecting tissue to bring the traditional TradFi Web2 world together with the Web3 world, and then make it private by default, and over time you can figure out what that means for each application.
We trust governments to guard our rights, but what happens when they become gatekeepers of our data? If regulation is supposed to protect us, why do we feel so exposed? The next stop on this journey isn't about who watches us. It's about what happens when our digital selves slip out of our control. Privacy in Motion explores how your personal data fuels billion-dollar systems, while examining who controls the rules of digital privacy and what it truly means to own and protect your identity.
The idea of data privacy, it's something I never think about, never talk about with my friends, never is a point of conversation. I've never seen it.
Yeah.
It's invisible.
The scammers are leveling up their skills just as fast as we're leveling up our defenses.
We do need to be protecting our data online, because there's always someone snooping. There's always someone watching what we're doing.
There's an inherent trust in everyone to just assume everything is safe, right? And it's like, that is the completely wrong mindset to have. Like, everything is not safe. Like, treat everyone as your enemy.
Cool. Well, I'm not going to sleep at all, you know.
I think people are more concerned about privacy these days than they used to be, and I think that's because of all the stories out there about data breaches, about people misusing personal information. If you look at the kind of evolution of Facebook or Meta and their privacy policies over the years. I mean, it's kind of absurd. They've gone from like saying we're going to safeguard your privacy to basically you signing everything away when you log on to these services.
I've had my Facebook account hacked once, and somebody was asking for money from me.
My social security number's been compromised repeatedly. Almost weekly, there's some attempt for identity theft.
Why do you think people don't talk about it more? Like, do you think it's kind of shame or embarrassment that like you fell for this thing so you don't want to admit to other people that it happened?
Oh yeah, 100%. Unless we talk about it, then no one's going to learn. Like, I would rather prevent 100 more people from falling from the scam than, you know, just suffer the ego hit.
Education's important. I think when people are using the internet, using services, they need to understand what it is they're using, what they are getting for free, what are they exposing to others, individuals, communities, also companies. And therefore for us, what we want to do is think about that ownership and how that is enabled in this sort of privacy in motion. As we think about it, what we want to make sure is that people understand what they're doing.
All right, so all of this sounds great, but what is it actually going to take? Technically, commercially, legally, to get, say, a Fortune 500 company to adopt this at scale? You know, not just theory, but for real.
Yes, great question. So companies value their data, whether it's customer data, whether it's data around innovation or engineering or something they have, a special recipe that they don't want to expose to somebody else. Yet they have to interact. We interact as humans, companies and corporates interact. In a Web3 technology that we have today, that information is public, and companies don't want to expose that information publicly. The future is not private or permissionless, it's a hybrid. And we think that's what Midnight's technology enables. You can issue something publicly. It could be an equity, it could be a token, it could be an RWA, it could be just healthcare data. But you can hold and query it privately. And then everything's not black and white. Privacy is not you're private or you're public. There's grays in between. There's selective disclosures. So that's what the technology allows. We want to bring adoption from all communities, not just Web 2, but Web 3. We want to invite every chain and every community to come and build and work with us, because we don't think of ourselves as the chain. We want to be part of a wider community, not just Midnight, but beyond Midnight.
We once thought identity was something we owned, a fixed reflection of who we are. But in the data age, identity is fragmented, duplicated, and dangerously easy to steal. So as the bus slows and the ride comes to an end, one question lingers. If privacy is a right, why does it feel like a privilege? Privacy in Motion explores how your personal data fuels billion-dollar systems, while examining who controls the rules of digital privacy and what it truly means to own and protect your identity.
Do you think the average person cares a lot about their digital privacy?
No, because I think they know that they're cooked regardless.
As someone who is very active on social media and creating content is a part of my job.
Yeah.
Putting my face on the internet, there's a huge risk that someone could manipulate my data.
Are you using any incognito mode, or using Brave? Are you doing anything?
I use ad blocking software. I don't use a VPN, but I use uBlock Origin, and I try to stay on top of it with Chrome and Firefox, switching between the two depending on what I'm doing.
Almost everybody knows how to use incognito mode, right? Why? Why? Because it's the privacy not from Google. Google knows what you're doing when you're using incognito mode. It's the privacy from the people in your house, right? And people are extremely attuned to the privacy from their parents, from their significant other, from their children. The privacy of, okay, am I private from some, customer support agent in Menlo Park? Most people are inferring that, like, look, I'm not private from them, but I don't care.
Can you tell us about your personal approach to privacy?
Well, given that I'm somebody who is a public figure within crypto, a lot of people are paying attention to both my on-chain wallets as well as my own kind of physical personal privacy. I'm an investor. And as an investor, it's important to be putting out there a message, to have a brand. You can't really do it as an anon. I tweet a lot. I tweet very actively. I share a lot of my thoughts on a lot of podcasts. But I don't talk a lot about my life. I don't talk about where I am. I don't talk about my, other people in my life. I don't talk about my personal relationships. All of these things are, they're necessary costs of building a business in this space, but you only need to incur as many costs as are actually necessary.
So when you think about your data, you got a lot of accounts. Is it $10 a month? Is it $100 a month? What's your price to license all your data?
I mean, I think it's priceless, honestly, but there could be some arrangements made to have like a fixed price, I guess.
If you were to predict how much Facebook makes off of you each month, what would that number be?
Me personally?
Yeah.
Maybe like a 1,000 or so, I don't know.
It's difficult for people to be able to price their own data or to get paid for their own data individually. If you think about what's the ARPU, the average revenue per user of a company like Facebook, it's maybe like $10. And that's aggregating over all users, right? Which means that half users are more than that, half users are less than that. It's really hard for me to sell you a piece of wood. That doesn't mean that wood isn't valuable. It's actually very obviously valuable. It's one of the most important resources we have in the world. But in order to sell wood, you need to have a lot of wood and to have it standardized. Can I sell you this piece of wood, or can I sell you this piece of data? Here's my data that I want to sell to you. There's a lot of weird effects you get of things like adverse selection, or just the size being difficult to actually price at a certain scale. So that's why, although as a VC, it's a tantalizing idea that people can get paid for their data, the practical reality is that it's actually really hard to make these markets work without a lot of aggregation, which is effectively what these companies are doing in the first place.
When you look at projects and you're thinking whether or not to put money in, how important is it to, one, understand how the projects you're investing in understand users and are protecting them? And then secondly, are you investing in privacy-related companies?
So we've invested in some privacy-related companies. When we're looking at a company, we're always thinking about, will users actually be comfortable with this level of disclosure about their assets, about their positions, about their, very often we're looking at things like DeFi or trading. And these are places where you can see there's a lot of user sensitivity to what is being disclosed about me. If I make this transaction, are people going to know? Are they going to see? Are they going to follow my addresses, my wallets? There are times when this transparency in crypto is good. There are times when it's shining the spotlight on market fairness. At the same time, there's a lot of bad activity that is enabled because of the fact that people can't actually remain private and have a lot of their information disclosed. If you really do want to be private, not just like performatively private, but actually private, it comes at a high cost. When the privacy gets cheap enough, such that users will not notice the cost, and people feel freaked out of the sense of, oh, wow, actually, there is somebody looking over your shoulder all the time. Chainalysis sees everything, and they actually can tell what's going on. That will be the moment where I think privacy tech could be a real, you turn the switch on, and everybody moves to privacy overnight.
And you as an investor, are you waiting for that moment?
I'm excited for that moment, but I think it's very clear that moment is not here yet. And pretending the moment is here when it's not is a recipe for a failed investment. When the tech gets good enough, gets cheap enough, then we will eventually arrive at that moment where you can actually flip the switch and turn everything private.
If capital shapes what we build and who we are, then our apps are how we express ourselves. Those tools have often been extractive and occasionally destructive. Do we need to rewrite the internet from the ground up? And if so, who can we trust to stand up for all of us in the face of big tech's advertising ATM?
Privacy in Motion explores how your personal data fuels billion-dollar systems while examining who controls the rules of digital privacy and what it truly means to own and protect your identity.
People like you care a lot, people in crypto care a lot about privacy, but it's said that the wider internet surfing public doesn't care enough.
They're nihilist or nihilist, right? They don't care.
Do you think people actually care about their digital privacy?
Surface, no.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I think some people care more than others.
Many people care too much about their privacy.
What do you think about that?
So first of all, ask them to hand over their unlocked phone and see if they really believe what they're saying.
So Brendan Ide, thanks for joining us today. You're the founder of Brave. I don't think it's hyperbole to say you're one of the founders of the web even. You developed Mozilla, JavaScript back in the day. To talk about Brave, I mean, why originally did you want to develop that and why do we need it?
So Brave was a sort of rebellion against all the ads and surveillance that was getting crazy 10 years ago. When we started with Netscape in particular, I joined in April 1995, everybody wanted to put up a web server of their own with a picture of their cat and dog and their grandchildren. That was great. That's still possible and that's still fundamental to the web. But nobody thought about what if there's a picture on my site that I load from a different site. That site could track my users. That became the ad tech pixel, which then got reduced to an invisible JavaScript. And that built this entire surveillance economy up behind most people's backs. We didn't know about it. And it was clear that the big browsers were captured by their search engine owners or partners. Even Firefox, when I was there, wouldn't block cookies. We had 3 tries as an open source project by people trying to block third-party cookies the same way Safari did. And they got rejected. And I was party to it, so I'm not blaming anybody else, but we all thought this rocks the boat too much, and it's just going to cause people doing ad tech to run to the fingerprinting side of the ship, and it's not going to improve the situation. So with Brave, we got to start from a smaller user base of lead users and build a new approach that blocks by default, so private by default, and then can we build up new economics and new models for keeping publishers and users happy.
You want to be really protective about your privacy and who can see what you are doing online. Just like while I'm still sharing all this information with so many services, they can be encrypted. Privacy is a right, so you should be able to block things. Free riding is always allowed on the web if the content isn't paywalled, in my opinion. This is the nature of the web. But what if you want to give back? What if you want to help the publisher you like? What if you want to do something novel with ads? And that's what Brave's been building up. So private by default, and then can we build up new economics and new models for keeping publishers and users happy?
So this is a big question. I mean, does incentivization work to preserve privacy, do you think?
I think it's an open question. I think it's a hard problem. It's not going to be solved in one fast move. For instance, we did the basic attention token on Ethereum, and like Bitcoin, the Ethereum blockchain will fingerprint you. It doesn't have privacy. It has pseudo-anonymity, and enough repeated or patterned transactions will identify you, sometimes uniquely. But we've seen evolution since then with Zcash, Monero, and now things like Midnight. And we've done our own sort of browser-based techniques because we don't want to put things on the blockchain if we don't have to at all. We don't want to put them on our servers. It's better not to have the data. Then you can't be evil, instead of the sophomore "don't be evil" slogan Google used to have until they retired it. So can you build up a trusted edge-based browser operating system data set that allows you to look back, do that kind of analytics that credit card companies do to detect non-fraud from fraud, but do it in the browser and then mint a zero-knowledge proof, a proof that anyone can verify based on the terms of the proof itself.
If you look at the dream of the internet, this kind of, broadly available town square that, is essentially unregulated. I think if you go back to the beginnings of it, I think a lot of it comes down to educating individuals. I think people need to adapt their mentality to this kind of brave new world.
The law is never perfect, and it depends on human action, both in the regulatory domain, because so much needs to be figured out by the regulators after the fact, and among the users, especially the lead users who are informing the next generation of products. I think between regulation, antitrust, and user consciousness, lead user consciousness, privacy is still rising.
If we've learned anything from browsers like Brave, it's that privacy isn't just possible, it's preferable. But to truly reclaim the web, we may need to rethink not just how we browse, but what the internet is even made of. So what happens when we stop patching the system and start rebuilding it from the protocol up?
Privacy in Motion explores how your personal data fuels billion-dollar systems, while examining who controls the rules of digital privacy and what it truly means to own and protect your identity.
Centralized AI effectively will lead to 1984. Big Brother controlling, telling us what to do, what not to do, right? It's actually almost inevitable because of how companies work. Like you first provide value to the users and then you move into extractive stage, right?
Either of you use AI?
Yeah, I use it a lot.
What do you use AI for?
Like for everything, actually. Just like if you're visiting now New York, give me some highlights of New York. Also, if I need to write an email that needs to be professional, oh yeah, can you rewrite it?
I personally use it for more informational stuff. Like I just like doing research, or if something comes to me, I'll ask AI like what it's about, because it's quicker, it's faster than Google.
So my background is in AI, right? I'm the co-author on the Transformer paper, which is T in GPT. And so for me, I mean, we actually started Near as an AI company originally, and we actually felt the need for blockchain ourselves. And that's why we focused on building out a scalable, easy to use blockchain. And so when, ChatGPT moment happened, to me, it was like, okay, well, now there is actually a killer product that people can interact with AI. I mean, we actually talked about this problems even before. I've talked about Google and Facebook using AI all of this time effectively to, drive our attention and, monetize our data and effectively have all these issues. Like, you can, like my talks at 2019, 2020 had all of this. So it just like people didn't feel that to be AI, even though Google has literally been doing AI for 30 years. But with ChatGPT, it was like very direct, like, this is AI. And so it was easier to then talk about these problems applied to this, where like your data is now owned by somebody else. They can train on it. People weren't kind of comprehending this before kind of ChatGPT moment.
In terms of the privacy aspect, that's definitely a concern. You have people say, faces being turned into, GPT generated imagery, fake content you create for documents, things like that.
Someone was using my face and generating images of me nude.
Right.
And they were posting them on X. I've got no control of that. Someone's releasing these images. And, for people who, some people obviously still getting used to the concept of AI. So some people might even think that they're real, and like that's hugely damaging to someone's reputation.
I keep thinking about the idea of machine learning. And at some points, the machines have learned. And what should we be worried about when the machines start acting instead of just learning?
Well, I mean, they're acting now, so I think and learning will never stop, same as humans, so we never stop learning. I think the important parts are, right now, the framework of ensuring that machines, AIs are operating within boundaries is actually, it's very limited in a sense. I call it the thought police, right? You're trying to tell the model to not think about stuff. Right, it's like, do not do bad things. Do not do this to the user. Like in the prompt, right? It has all these instructions. I think this is actually the somewhat a wrong approach. Instead, what you want to have a way to ensure that nothing wrong can happen. And we have actually a really interesting tool. It's math. So one thing that AI cannot break through, right, is math. Like if you ask a model to formally prove to you, mathematically prove to you some facts, right, it cannot go around that, right? And so one of the research areas we're working on is, I want agent to prove to me that it's not going to do anything bad with my data, with my interactions, with my personal information, etc. And so it needs to prove to me that before it actually can get access to it. And so you can have this kind of more formal system to ensure correctness of execution and kind of behavior, even if internally it thinks some weird things, like it doesn't matter, right? Like what it does and what the outcomes it delivers.
Do you ever worry that you're giving AI so much of your information that it really now has a very deep profile of you?
Sometimes I do, but mostly it helps me that he knows me, so that's okay.
It can never replicate exactly what we think because we're human, but I feel like giving AI access to a lot of the information that we have is scary.
I really believe AI will be how we're going to interact with computing going forward. And so, I really think that AI, should be able to know as much as possible about us, to represent us, to help us make decisions, to even make decisions on our behalf. And so you want privacy for that. Like, you don't want all of your life uploaded to somebody else's data center, for them to be able to access it. Near's vision is own your assets, data, and power of choice, right? So assets, easy. This is what crypto been about. Data, right? This is again vision from 2019. is indeed like a massive resource that's right now been monetized by the companies, and effectively, you know, they're generating money off it. And the power of choice is that fundamental property, right? That, and I'm saying, like, the provider of the product can manipulate you to do things, right? For whatever reason, because they want to make more money off you, right? Like, we should be fighting against that and actually bring the choice back to the user. I think we need more products and more developers who choose these values and deliver better products.
A user-owned internet sounds liberating, fast, private, and open. But AI may be coming for everyone to extract all of the value it can from our mortal coil. How can we ensure our very selves, both physically and digitally, remain truly ours in an agentic future?
Should we be more worried about the government or more worried about big tech, Google, stealing our data?
If big tech is collecting the honeypots, that's where it's going to happen. And recently, thanks to companies like Palantir, the government is getting better at collaborating with the big tech.
So maybe the distinction between government and big tech is maybe not really there if they're all basically the same thing.
They're getting better at collaborating with each other.
Privacy in Motion explores how your personal data fuels billion-dollar systems, while examining who controls the rules of digital privacy and what it truly means to own and protect your identity.
General public, I don't always think that privacy and security are always top of mind against chance to make tons of money on meme coin. We're seeing like a large influx of institutions interested in Bitcoin DeFi, and one of their major concerns, or their two major concerns, are security and privacy.
You know, I'm interested in this concept of privacy around Bitcoin. The cypherpunks really believed in privacy as kind of a core message, a core reason for having Bitcoin. How do you feel that the message now about privacy is getting out there in crypto? Are people caring about this as much as they used to? What do you think?
I think it's definitely less. It's more muted. We're seeing some ideas at early stages around, can we just take Bitcoin, which is now almost becoming like a standard, and apply some sort of privacy solutions on top of Bitcoin? So you need programmability for it, like things like stacks and other L2s, but you can imagine that people move their Bitcoin into an L2 and get better privacy if they want over there. So I think we are seeing some initial ideas like that.
We've seen a lot of investment go into Bitcoin recently. How has that affected how people are thinking about Bitcoin as more than a store of value chain, as an L2?
Most of those investments are going for buying Bitcoin as a store of value, not just the ETFs, but also some of the public companies that are building Bitcoin treasuries. But I think it has a follow-on effect, because what's happening is that once these public companies have Bitcoin on their balance sheet, we are going to look at strategies for earning yield on this Bitcoin, or actively deploying it and figuring out how to maximize shareholder value. And I think that trend is where Bitcoin L2s start playing a role.
What about the payments use case on L2s?
So let's say if I want to route a $10,000 payment, every node on the way needs to have $10,000 of capacity just sitting there idle. So it's not very capital efficient. And for larger payments, like $10 million, you're probably not going to find any routes. Our architecture is very different. So Stacks L2 is more like a blockchain. So when you mint Bitcoin on the L2, it's called SBDC. It is fast, it's cheap, and you can pay any amount. You want to pay $100 million, you can pay $100 million.
Right.
It's fast and cheap, like using Solana. And I think that's the best of both worlds. And I'm very, very excited about that product.
People talk about cryptocurrencies as this like, they could be used by money launderers or drug dealers, but in reality, it's the most transparent public ledger in the world.
I think there's an interesting polarity between the way people present and then kind of the mechanism of the blockchain, because everything is set in stone. You can look up any transaction on the chain and it's there immutably. It's sort of a cypherpunk ideal, I think, to be untrackable and unnoticed.
So a lot of the time, like, even if you do just like set up an account or a wallet, like there's still a risk, because there's conversations around obviously certain blockchains and projects who aren't completely decentralized, and it's decentralized, so you're still putting yourself at risk in an industry that claims that it's all about putting the rights back into the hands of the people.
How do we get more privacy in the crypto economy, do you think?
We will start seeing a shift towards like on-chain native economy. And I think that automatically leads to better privacy, even on a public chain.
Do you think we can really balance the needs of law enforcement and, stamping out something like North Korean hackers, as was the case with Nordic Cash, and have what we want in terms of privacy? Or are those two things just inevitably kind of in conflict?
I do think they're in conflict, but that's why I'm personally interested in finding some sort of a middle ground. Like the example I gave where there's a pool and there is someone that does KYC, and ideally they don't even store that information, right? Like they do it, they issue some sort of an on-chain credential, and then these people are able to mix their Bitcoin. Practically speaking, it can actually benefit a lot of people. Like if you think about like the banking system, the government and the regulators have access to it. The courts have access to it. They can subpoena any time and get a list of like all your transactions.
Right.
But on a day-to-day basis, like I can't access your account, right? So your transactions are somewhat private, but the courts and the regulators can get access to it whenever they want to. So it's sort of like a compromise in a way, right? And whereas Bitcoin is just public by default. Right. And I think, personally speaking, I think trying to find some compromise that's actually better than the status quo, better than the current banking system, has strong cryptographic guarantees,
right,
could be a way to resolve that conflict a little bit.
The journey doesn't end when the bus stops. In a world where your data, your identity, and even your choices are constantly in motion, the question isn't who owns your future, it's whether you do.
Privacy in Motion explores how your personal data fuels billion-dollar systems, while examining who controls the rules of digital privacy and what it truly means to own and protect your identity.
If you fast forward to 10 years, is digital privacy a fundamental right or a luxury?
No, it's a luxury.
Wouldn't you want the ability to maybe manage your own privacy?
Would I want it?
Yes.
Yes, absolutely.
A future world where you guys, your identity is the equivalent of you having your social security card and you get to say when they get to sell your data?
Sure, I guess, yeah.
People are getting popular just off of Twitch streaming them sleeping, and they're getting paid off of that.
Have you ever been paid to sleep?
No.
Have you ever been paid to sleep?
Paid to sleep?
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
I want to get paid to sleep. If you guys would like to pay me to sleep, let me know.
So first, Matt, my question for you is, you work for Solana, I believe highest transaction volume of any of the major blockchains right now. How are you guys balancing out the idea of privacy on a chain that really is focused on high transaction volume, most users?
So I think in some sense, they're kind of the same thing. Like if you make the base layer as efficient as possible, then you allow for more and more complex things to happen. We just view it as making as much capacity and as flexible as possible of the base layer. And today you see that as just a lot of transactions and the chain improving week over week, month over month. Tomorrow, more complex, even just privacy features and other things come out of that, just because it's cheap and still very functional to do that while interacting with a bunch of other primitives.
What is the way we get people to value privacy as an asset versus look at it as a detriment to their easy life?
Yeah, it's a really good question. If something is incredibly valuable to something, they will jump through hoops. I think there is a little bit of a misnomer that the UX barrier is the only barrier to crypto, and I would argue that's not really the case. I mean, especially being in the games industry, most of the really popular games out there today were really, really janky and not very user-friendly at launch. League of Legends, World of Warcraft, even Fortnite. Like these games were pretty bare bones. They're just kind of thrown together at launch. It really just takes some entrepreneur or somebody to really think of what is that case that unlock something that people just need. I think people really like having notoriety in games, but they want to have choice behind that notoriety. Like you can prove to everybody that you got some achievement or you own this character, you can sign, whatever that might be, but you don't need to. You can be anonymous until then. The current games industry is arguably just like a customer acquisition into obfuscation of how much money you're paying me business. Like I know that's a maybe cynical way of viewing it, but it's an ad business. People come in and then they just pay the application a bunch of money and the money never leaves. Now it's just obfuscated just enough that you feel like, oh, I just paid an extra $10, I'll get to the next level or whatever. Just not necessarily knowing that somebody else is paying $100,000 per year on their character set, so you'll just never catch up to them. That would be very deflating for much of the player base if the business had to expose all of their, all of that activity. So if you did see how much money the Roblox, the Fortnites are making and exactly how, I think individual users would be have a lot more scrutiny on those. And so putting it just very transparently on chain can be bad too. So I think, both basically user and business protection, I think, would benefit a lot from some privacy features.
See, you bring a great point, which is we often talk about privacy through the lens of what are users exposing?
Yeah.
You're mentioning something I think is fascinating, which is the idea of what is business hiding?
Generally speaking, people overestimate what's going to happen in 1 year, but very, very much underestimate what's going to happen in 10 years. Email started off as, just kind of this way to just send basic messages and then maybe some cat pics and stuff. But now you DocuSign billion-dollar deals. The level of which that type of thing is just absolutely taken over so quickly, but it didn't really happen in a year. I think that's the same position we are right now. It is pretty clear to most people that the current financial infrastructure and payments layer is ready to be disrupted.
If scalability without sovereignty leads us back to surveillance, what kind of future are we really building? As we dive deeper, we move from protocol to people, exploring how privacy must be taught, understood, and demanded by everyone, not just engineers.
As technologists, we have just an amazing opportunity to make sure that the next 100 years is going to have a lot of the principles that we've been pushing in the market around decentralization, privacy preserving first, around self-sovereign identity, right? And I'm super excited about it. I don't think it's going to be 5 years though. I think it's going to be another 20.
All right, so 10 years from now, we're 10 years away.
There you go.
Privacy in Motion explores how your personal data fuels billion-dollar systems, while examining who controls the rules of digital privacy and what it truly means to own and protect your identity.
You're out here on the Vegas Strip. You get to make money through people taking photos of you.
Yeah.
Do you think that, think of all the people who are just giving their image away on Instagram, right? Or on TikTok. Do you think people should be paid and be rewarded for when they give their information and their image away?
I believe 100%. 100%. Everyone should be monetizing.
Do you think your phone's listening to you? And what do you think the big tech companies are doing with that data?
Selling a bit of it and then using it for scientific purposes to research the future technology.
Do you believe that if normal apps, social media, e-com, whatever it would be, if they were a little more difficult to use, but because they were being more privacy sensitive, that people would use them, or are they really just going for convenience?
I think convenience has a lot to do with it. And I think as the technology progresses, the user friendliness will increase as well and the adoptability will go up.
Pretty much any piece of technology, maybe even a lot of the things that's driving this car, has open source software in it, right? And the Linux Foundation for the last close to 30 years has been the home for the most important open source projects. LF Decentralized Trust is the home for blockchain, decentralized technologies like decentralized identity, cryptography projects, interoperability. And what we do is we build communities of developers that come together and convene together to build these technologies to power pretty much everything that we're going to be touching upon today. I think a big portion of the Web2 developer ecosystem needs things like they need education, right? So at the Linux Foundation, we've trained millions and millions of developers on technologies like the Linux kernel or Kubernetes, and even our own LFDT projects like Bezu and Hyperledger Fabric, right? Because why? Because developers need a career path very often to get a job. If you want to go and get a job at JP Morgan, or if you want to go get a job at, Pfizer, right? They hire developers that have certifications, that have training. So I think that's one of the biggest barriers to the Web2 developers that want to upskill, that want to get involved in the community, is they don't have enough of those professional paths.
Why are you skeptical of crypto?
The randomness of it seems. The trends out. I was telling him it's not different to me than somebody showing up to school in some bizarre outfit and they either get bullied for it or it takes off and it's trending. It seems random to me. I don't get it.
I think you either have to get with the times or you get left behind.
Many of these developers, they've not experienced crypto.
Yeah.
Right, and Web3 apps. They haven't experienced metaverse, right, and different types of things. And it's interesting to see when they do, and kind of like the things that they critique about. I still go to a lot of open source conferences that the Linux Foundation does, and blockchain is still a dirty word.
Why do you think that is?
Because they see blockchain as crypto, right?
Instead of a core technology.
Yeah, exactly. And
Yeah.
so I actually had a slide that I've used for the last 10 years that says, blockchain does not equal Bitcoin. Then I updated it to blockchain does not equal crypto. But these things just take a while. So when people think of privacy and they think, what are, core things that you should think of with privacy, transparency and openness is probably like two words that they're like, well, that's anti-privacy. If you're doing things transparently and open, then it's not private. Everybody can see it, right? But if you start looking at building things from that level transparently, everyone can see the code. Everyone could see my project roadmap, what I'm trying to build, what I'm trying to build out. Everyone can see how to get involved, how to make comments, how to submit pull requests. Then the privacy is a feature, right, that you build into the application or the project that you're building, but everyone can see how you got to that privacy. So, for us, I think it's really important that when developers come to our community, and, we have 17 different open source projects now, over 50 active labs, there's a lot of great work in the privacy space happening, but everyone can show up and actually see how are these decisions being made? Why was this specific path chosen to get to, verifiable credentials being the core of the application, right? So those are the kind of things that I think are important for developers. Saying, hey, we're building this stuff and we're building it in the open, I think is going to be a much better approach than, coming to market with a product that no one has any idea how it's built. And sure, you're telling me it's privacy preserving, but maybe not.
Code alone can't protect what culture ignores. How do you design privacy into products people can actually trust? That's our next step. Checking in on where ethics, marketing, and metadata collide.
All right, so there's a button you're gonna push.
This one.
On the floor, right there.
This one.
No, one next to it. Push that and then pull up on the metal. No, the other side.
What?
The other side, yeah. So no, push down and with your finger pull up. Yeah, there you go.
There you go.
And just pop that out.
Now I know.
In a conversation around privacy, we did choose the most outrageous, obvious car we possibly could. For me, as an idea around, let's see how to be private in a very public way. I love that.
Privacy in Motion explores how your personal data fuels billion-dollar systems, while examining who controls the rules of digital privacy and what it truly means to own and protect your identity.
Do you think your phone's listening to you?
Oh my God, yes. Yes.
What do you believe the future of the internet is? So how do you right now look at privacy in this social age?
Oh, there isn't any privacy.
You feel we're just too far gone?
Yeah, for sure.
Do you feel safe in 2025 using the internet?
No, I feel like the government steals all of our data, and not only the government, but all of the private companies that we buy things from. Like, all of our data is just bought and sold all over the place.
For me, I have a 3, almost 4-year-old. I'm starting to wonder, how do you actually make your life private again? How do you actually have private moments? How do you not be prospected on a daily basis? So I think by being a seller and buyer for so long, I'm now kind of looking going, I think we messed up.
The engineering of consent, the engineering of desire is something that advertising is built on and big brand is built on. How do we square that up with this idea that, oh, users really want privacy when most of us are really just attention farming for the benefit of our bottom line?
Well, I love that you said attention farming. I've partnered off and on since 2018 with Brendan Ike and his company Brave Software. You guys probably know Brave Browser. The idea that, oh, we're giving a better experience, oh, we're taking your data to make your world better. That's all bullshit. There's some places where we do know at the end of the day, hey, we can add a little bit of benefit here and there. I worked on a Johnson & Johnson platform years ago that was all about getting people more access. And at the end of the day, it's like, oh, couponing is access. Well, what do I give away for that? My email address, and then the slippery slope happens. And so when you think about something like Brave, even the idea of blocking out ads, making the experience better, actually driving better processing time, getting me faster the information, that's a better experience of the internet. A lot of the apps and things haven't actually provided value. The stuff that did, frankly, doesn't even exist anymore. Look at Nike Plus. Killer app, gone. What did it do? Massive data farming.
I don't think no matter how many preventative measures I take with my data and security and privacy, I will fully 100% be safe. Like, you can not click malicious links and get your wallets drained and whatever, but like, your personal data is out there.
You've also spent a lot of time in the crypto space. How does Web3 try and solve this problem?
To make it even worse, the intersection of Web3 and AI, things are only going to accelerate more. So are we actually solving the problem yet? I don't think so. The reality is most on-chain data is actually public info. So we touted for years, it's transparent, it's open, it's honest, it's all these things. We can actually tie most of your data to your wallet, sometimes back to your email address, just like the rest of the ad networks. I'm buying ads right now against people's wallet addresses. The fact that I can do that actually says we've potentially made the problem worse, and we've actually made the transaction level data on a financial level even closer to the person. So the notion of getting to a hybrid public-private state is actually something I think we need to get to. And I think this is where it becomes less of the, hey, which chain am I going on? Because let's be real, almost every chain has a data problem, has a privacy problem. Some chains have ZK solutions on top of them, but there's almost no networks that from the base layer actually have privacy at the core. A lot of metadata is exposed even with ZK. I think right now we have to start to go, how do we marry identity? How do we start to do true private transaction? How do you actually get into a zero knowledge state that proofs are actually enabling behavior? And I'd say more psychographic connection. And again, if we can go and help brands get to a place where they're culturally relevant and not just trying to data prospect. Right now, it's all about data prospecting. The more first party data you have, the better you're going to be off. I think right now, teams like Brave are actually starting to look at how do they shift the model. Nobody's done it yet.
We're here talking about Midnight. We spoke with Ilya from Neo, who's someone you know very well. Ilya mentioned the fact that when he was first at Google, you know, the idea that they were going to do no evil. Yes, their corporate mantra. And then he said, once the money got to a certain point, once the public attention with the stock price got to a certain point, there was no way not to do evil.
Yeah.
So with Midnight, it sounds like what Fahmy and the team are doing is trying to reverse that a little bit to say, it's not that we don't want to do no evil, not that we don't want to sell things. We want people to have the right to say, here's what I'm comfortable selling. Is that sort of where this is going?
I think it's the start. The reality is not every single thing needs to be private on a blockchain. I think that's the sheer reality. I think for us, the notion that the world could have privacy, you could selectively disclose, the base layer can actually provide that level of security and privacy, is actually where things are going. The starting point is actually building foundational infrastructure. When I look at what Fami and the team are doing at Midnight Foundation and what the team at Shield Technologies is building, they're building the precursor for the potential of that future. The idea that do no evil, do no harm is something that Google wanted to do. The reality is the tech that they were building never had that at the core.
If trust is the product, then privacy is the brand. But how do we turn that into a movement? One where users don't just opt in, but own. Our next episode takes us to the edge of the creator economy, where privacy isn't protected, it's monetized.
Hello, welcome to the first episode of Cryptos and Cars Getting Caffeine. This is an advertisement, I don't know if you guys know, funded by, we can't tell you because that's private.
Privacy is important, but it cannot come at the extent of usability.
Privacy in Motion explores how your personal data fuels billion-dollar systems, while examining who controls the rules of digital privacy and what it truly means to own and protect your identity.
What would be more exposing to you if someone looked at the location history on your phone or your search history on your browser?
Location. I don't want people to know where I'm at.
Search history.
And why?
Sure. Because it, has all of your intimate things.
Search history on browser, I would sacrifice location history. It could be dangerous. I can't even shop at the same grocery stores anymore because I frequently go there. And I don't know.
What would be more exposing to you? If someone saw your location history on your phone or your browser history and your search history on your browser?
The most exposing thing actually would be seeing my conversations with ChatGPT, I think. Whether it's in helping me process some of my deepest thoughts or whether it's about helping me write better, that definitely is the most revealing, and I would hate for anyone to see that because it would be, really, probably really embarrassing.
Do you think that, especially the younger folks or the more social first folks, understand what digital privacy even is?
I think that there is an understanding of digital privacy, and I think I'm squarely in the millennial bracket, like smack in the middle of the generation, and so I feel like I've seen both sides. I grew up without having the internet, and then I kind of grew up alongside it. But I went through high school without there being social media. I think obviously as you've got older, there is a sense that, maybe I don't want everybody finding this. All of a sudden, all of these things that maybe we were feeling, but we didn't really know how to articulate, all of a sudden was put very clearly in front of us that, oh my gosh, there's a whole team of engineers literally engineering ways to keep ourselves addicted to our phones and keep ourselves coming back. And, the moment that they saw us losing interest, they were going to find new ways to capture us. Sure, it's not great that companies are taking our data and selling it, but I get a lot of entertainment anyway from seeing what other people are doing, so I'm just going to keep doing it anyway.
So why do you think that, the creator economy, let's focus there, that they've been willing to trade that off on the idea of fame and brand deals?
People at the end of the day, I think creators, they're motivated by a bunch of different things. And I think a lot of the times, and what we're doing in crypto, obviously, I think a big part of the narrative there, which is what we've been seeing with these new on-chain social apps, whether it's Zora or Farcaster or the new Base app, I think a lot of the underlying messaging is that come here and be rewarded for what you're posting. Come here, create and earn, right? And I can say that that is true. I have made way more money off of Farcaster, off of posting on Base, off of posting on Zora, even if it's 1 out of 100 posts that actually made me something. It's still more money that I made out of Instagram because I've made zero. I made a grand total of zero from Instagram and Twitter, right?
$1.
Yeah, not one. So even if I made $10, it's still an improvement. I also think to myself, if I were to post a video on Instagram and that went viral, given the scale of that platform, and that got 1 million views or 1 million likes, I probably would value that more than $200, right? So I think it's not always a straightforward like, I guess, ask in terms of what values more to a creator and why they are willing to go down the conventional path, which has already seen a lot of skill, versus exploring some of these new models that are emerging. I think people are going to value their privacy differently. Some people care a lot, some people don't. And I think they are going to have to weigh that against the trade-offs at which it comes at. I think obviously I'm bullish on technology that's being worked on, like ZK proof technology that makes privacy easier, like, which ironically on a blockchain where everything is so transparent, you now have the possibility of that being, of not only your data being private, but also having full ownership of your data, right? So I think those are things that I'm excited about. I think we are still incredibly early. It's hard to say that privacy means X dollars to me, or privacy means like sovereignty. I think it's like whether we're trying to value it in terms of a nominal sum, or whether we're trying to value it in terms of a philosophy or a way of thinking. I think it's incredibly hard to label it, at least at this point. Coming from Singapore, we're a very young country. We turned 60 years old this year. Is a big milestone. We have a very sophisticated, I would say, quite gov tech setup, right? So my identification card is stored on my phone through an app, and that app has some, for the lack of a better word, like composability with other applications that are government related. I was actually surprised as I, over the years, would open the app for various things, and I'm like, wow, this thing knows where I went to school.
And this is basically Debbie as a digital person.
Yes.
All of your data tied to one thing.
Yes.
And it doesn't sound like you get the choice to
zero.
expose anything or hide anything.
No.
From permissionless tech to permissioned identity, we've traced a path from scale to story, from infrastructure to individuals. The revolution won't be surveilled, but it will be personal. Next up on the privacy train is Singapore. Come along for the ride.
All right, well, I'm going to expose that we are about out of gas.
Yeah, okay.
So we're going to fill this up,
Yeah.
and then we'll finish the conversation.
It definitely gets points for being the coolest interview that I've ever done.
We give away our privacy. We post, hey, I'm here, I'm doing this, time, place. Privacy is not very difficult to achieve. Just turn off your phone.
There you have it. You can just turn off your phone.
Privacy in Motion explores how your personal data fuels billion-dollar systems, while examining who controls the rules of digital privacy and what it truly means to own and protect your identity.
You come to Singapore and you've got cameras everywhere. So we don't know who's looking at those, but you're on your best behavior, right?
I mean, do you think there's any way to keep anyone safe as long as there is any device connected to the internet?
That's a good question, because we don't know so much of what these devices are collecting and not collecting, right?
Look, I think you would agree that you said many times cash is the ultimate privacy coin. You've also said that with society moving away from the use of cash, there's this vacuum created, and crypto could, maybe it must fill that. But Bitcoin isn't private by default. So I wanted to ask you, if people are still choosing convenience over sovereignty, what do you think has to happen realistically for crypto to actually fill that gap?
Well, I don't think everything has to be private. We have multiple different coins that do different things, that serve different needs. And so obviously, yes, Bitcoin is not private. It's pseudonymous, not completely anonymous, not like cash. But obviously cash has difficulties as well. It's hard to move cash from one place to the other at the speed of light, essentially, of like bits. If you want to use a private coin, Monero is there for you. Obviously, to get that privacy makes it a little bit difficult to operate. Privacy doesn't come just because you want it, you have to work for it.
Well, I think that's kind of a common retort that we hear, right? Like a lot of people sort of say like, oh, well, I choose convenience, but also I don't need privacy. I don't have anything to hide.
I mean, that's fine, and maybe there'll be something that happens in their life and they'll experience why they would like a private form of money or monetary system. and then there'll be a convert. And usually that's some sort of like financial crisis or something happens in their life, and they realize, oh, that bank account balance is not really their money. People are going to start betting on these things because they realize that, oh, I would like to have sovereignty over my money, and here are the options, here's what's good and what's bad, and maybe I'll invest in this one or that one, or start even just using them, right?
I think you've acknowledged plenty of times that, normies don't really care about decentralization. They care a lot more about just like ease of use, great UX. How do you make those kind of tools frictionless enough for mass adoption without kind of giving away control or actually downgrading security?
I think you have to solve a problem for someone. So obviously, what was the first problem that Bitcoin solved? People who wanted to buy narcotics on the internet, right? And it solved the problem. How do you have a currency that can move between people to buy things that they otherwise wouldn't be able to buy? And that was a very dedicated initial user base, which helped make Bitcoin what it is today. I think you need to solve a similar sort of problem. Maybe it's political donations in a particular country. Okay, well, these people are not able to express their political will properly because the banking system and the politicians are conspiring to restrict their ability to communicate through money, and we can do something about that. But again, you have to find someone who's willing to pay something for it. How big is that market, right? So I think that's the question.
우리는 정부라던가 은행에 돈을 맡기는 시스템에 있었습니다. 다만 그런 시스템이 있는데도 불구하고 우리는 개인 금고라던가 실제로 현물 자산이라던가 이런 것들을 보관하고 수집하고 있습니다. 그런 것들을 생각했을 때 그들이 원하는 것, 우리가 원하는 것은 우리의 자산이 우리의 책임으로 인해서 관리되는 것을 원하기 때문에 우리는 결국 우리 스스로가 정부의 통제 없이 자산을 주체적으로 관리할 수 있는 것이 필요하다고 강하게 생각합니다.
Do you think there is actually a middle path between achieving, say, sovereign privacy and systemic legitimacy?
I think it's a pendulum, and it really depends on what people want to optimize. There's no such perfect thing. We'll never create the perfect money. We can strive to get there, and we have to make trade-offs along the way based on what you actually want to happen. So,
what about your view, though?
My view?
Yeah.
I would love the option to have something like Bitcoin pseudonymous. Like, I like being able to prove where money went. That is actually a very, great thing. It's very powerful against government to say, yes, okay, if everything was on the Bitcoin blockchain, which it's not, and maybe it never will be, but I can say, oh, you sent money from this address to that address.
Yep.
If it was private, then I can't really audit the government. And so there is a benefit to having the ability to see where money has gone and to question, what was that?
Privacy isn't an afterthought.
Yeah. Hello, everyone. Good morning. Good afternoon, almost. Yes. If I can have your attention, please, just for a few minutes. I know you're all busy talking, developing, doing great things. So if I could have just a little bit of silence, I promise you I will keep this short so you don't have to hear from me for too long. First of all, thank you very much for being here in the freezing cold in London. I appreciate some of you have come from the southern hemisphere. You've come from very far and wide, very sunny climates, warmer climates. So thank you. I have been around this wonderful venue. I was backstage at the Green Room. And in the Green Room, there is a wonderful statue of Lord Nelson. And as many of you might know, Lord Nelson lost an arm. And people say he lost it in the Battle of Trafalgar and other places. I'm wondering whether he lost it to frostbite because it's so cold here. So thank you all for keeping coding, keeping your fingers warm, keeping developing and doing some great things. Lauren's going to come up shortly, and I think she's done an amazing job. So when she comes up, please give her a great round of applause when I bring her up. Not now, she's not yet, because I think she's phenomenal and she does a great job. She has great passion for this, great passion for Midnight, but great passion and love for all of you guys. You are a clan, you are a family, and she loves every single one of you and what you're doing. I'm going to finish with one last thing. We are pioneers. We're changing frontiers. We're moving things. Sometimes when you're bold and you do something new, people think you're crazy. But it's far crazier to be timid and safe and not change. So thank you for being pioneers and being here, being part of the Midnight Hackathon, being here in London, and doing some great things. So with that, right now I need a great round of applause for Lauren, who's going to...
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. It is such an honor to announce our winners today. I am so proud of everyone and what you've accomplished in such a short amount of time. This is the highest caliber of projects we've ever seen at a hackathon. I cannot wait for the next summit and to see what we have next year. But let's get into it. I know you're so anticipatory and cannot wait to see who's getting these big checks that we printed. Okay, the winners are... We don't need to do that for every single one. No. Okay, so we have added a category, and that category is the developer relations category. And this is my team spent a lot of time last night reviewing every single project as well, and they advocated for one particular project that did not in fact pitch today. So if this team could come find the developer relations team after, I would deeply appreciate that. We have a very special prize for you. They're sitting over here. And that team is NextMed. Okay, moving on to the hacker's choice. So this is the one that we all voted for just now in the break time. So this is from your peers who self-selected from us all. The winner here. Eric's Raccoons, congratulations, guys. An excellent idea, we loved it. Come on up.
Come on up, team. Big.
Oh. Sure. You know I loved your idea. I loved it, absolutely. Congrats. I'm so excited for you guys. You know I love your idea. You have to keep building it.
Thank you.
Okay. Moving on to our verticals. The first one will be healthcare, I believe. The healthcare, the top prize for the healthcare is Black 8. Congratulations, Black 8. Come on up.
Has the Black 8 team in the building?
Maybe they've...
No. Are they here? I think they might have had a medical emergency and had to leave the building.
Okay.
Maybe later.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
We'll hold on to that. Okay, next up, AI. Let's do it again. Enterprise ZK, congratulations, guys. And to John at home. We wish you were here, John. Congrats, you guys. Of course, we're so happy for you. Go on in.
Well done.
Congratulations, and congratulations to John at home watching the live stream. We wish you were here. Finance. Lucent Labs. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
I'm so happy for you. Congratulations. Congrats. Our final category in the verticals, governance. Chain Vault. Congrats, guys. Our Berkeley boys. MLH representing. Congrats, guys. Major League Hacking. Thank you for finding us.
Congratulations. Thank you. Well done.
No, it's good luck traveling home with that on the airplane. All right.
It's the big one.
The big one. Without further ado, our final prize. The winner of the Midnight, the first time ever. Woo! Big Towers, congratulations! Sergey and Avance, our guys. I'm so happy for you, Sergey. Congrats. Partners of the Midnight Foundation, we're very, very happy for you. Congrats. Very deserving, excellent compact code, and excellent mentors to other engineers and all kind. Anyone who is learning compact, they all know Sergey. You are so deserving. Thank you for being a part of this ecosystem. We love Brick Towers. Congrats. And thank you everyone for being here for the summit. We love you all so, so much. This has been an excellent 3 days. We'll see you at the next one. And that's it. Thank you, Fahmi. Appreciate ya.
No, thank you.